Grand Rising. I'm doing well. What's going on, Jay? What's going on, Michael Robinson? Hope everyone's doing well. Jay says he's listening and working. So, all right, we got you, Jay.
Mic check. All right, there we go. All right. Say peace, Jay. Peace, Michael Robinson. So as y'all know, basically we started this with the American Revolution, with this week, and the whole thing we were just breaking down a lot of the Indian wars that went on, and we came across Mr. Joseph Brant, whose story is very interesting. I mean, one of the longest stories we came across so far. So we just been reading it and digging through, finding out some more information about him, and bringing it and posting it up. Let me get this link and put it up here.
Yeah, very interesting is an understatement because there seems to be a lot of information that was hidden that tends to break down exactly how we could have potentially lost some of the land.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding that this is Wikipedia. There's three sides to every story, and we all need to do our research. Now, the good news is we have one of the individuals who are Tuscaroran by the name of Copper India, who has done his research and gone and got some of the records, and he can actually verify some of the information. So that makes it a lot easier to, you know,
Mm-hmm. Cross-referencing
have validity
stories.
with this. Right, right. So, which basically proves why it's good to do your genealogy, so you can know where you're from, and you can cross-reference this information, and you proves why it's good paint a better picture of what happened or what possibly happened to your ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
So it it definitely brings some things to light for those of you who may have heard yesterday that we came across what pan Indian meant,
Yep.
and how and how it tied into the Pontiac Rebellion, which basically meant there were some Indians who were on code, basically meaning they wanted to stay with their own kind, and that the Europeans should stay on their own continent, particularly the Lenape, under one particular prophet by the name of Leolin. Under one particular, he was going around scaring some of the Europeans, but Joseph Brant was pro,
European.
if you will, pro European. So much so that he heavily identified with them. So that just lets us know that there were some Indians who wanted to be on code and stay on code, just as there were Indians who were choosing sides. So
Yep.
again, it goes to show that there were three sides to this. Indians that were either pro one side or the other, and the Indians that were remnant, which is why I believe that some of us are still here to this day and not buying into being assimilated into the mess that we call America. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much where we are today. So we will continue to read up on Joseph Brant.
I think we left off
And
as commissioned as officer. I believe that's, yeah. I marked it.
yeah, uh, yeah, I'm gonna fix my coffee. So give me a minute.
No problem. I'll start with the first paragraph since I got everything situated. Let's see. Tilt this better. It says commissioned as an officer in 1779. In February 1779, Brant traveled to Montreal to meet with Frederick Helman, Helman, the military commander and governor of Quebec. Helman commissioned Brant as captain of the Northern Confederate Indians. He also promised provisions but no pay for his volunteers. Assuming victory, Helman pledged that after the war ended, the British government would resolve the Mohawk to their land as stated before the conflict started. Those conditions were included in the Proclamation of 1763, the Treaty of Fort Stanwix in 1768, and the Quebec Act in June 1774. Handmaid gave Brant the rank of captain in the British Army, as he found Brant to be most civilized of the Iroquois chiefs, finding him not to be a savage. Goes on to stay in May, Brant returned to Fort Niagara, where with his new salary and plunder from his raids, he acquired a farm on the Niagara River, 6 miles, 10 kilometers from the fort, to work the farm and to serve households. He used slaves captured during his raids. Brant also bought a slave, a 7-year old. It states, I'm just paraphrasing what it states, which we know this can't be who this person was at this time. Brant also bought a slave, a 7-year old African American girl named Sophia Berthan Pooley. She served him and his family for 6 years before he sold her to an Englishman named Samuel Hatt for $100. He built a small chapel for the Indians who started living nearby. There he also married for a third time Catherine Croghan, as noted above in the marriage section. Brant's honors and gifts caused jealousy among rival chiefs, in particular the Seneca war chief Thayendanegea, Securata. A British general said that Brant would be much happier and would have more weight with the Indians, which he is, which he in some case measures forfeits by their knowledge that he receives pay. In late 1779, after receiving a colonel's commission for Brant from Lord Jermyn, Helman decided to hold it without informing Brant. Over the course of a year, Brant and his loyalist forces had reduced much of New York and Pennsylvania to ruins, causing thousands of farmers to flee what had been one of the most productive agricultural regions on the eastern seaboard. As Brant activities were depriving the Continental Army of food, General George Washington ordered General John Sullivan in June 1779 to invade Kankakee and destroy all of the Haudenosaunee villages. In early July 1779, the British learned of plans for a major American expedition into Iroquois Seneca country. To disrupt the Americans' plans, John Butler sent Brant and his volunteers on a quest for provisions and to gather intelligence in the upper Delaware River Valley near Mincing, New York. After stopping at Onondaga, Brant attacked and defeated American militia at the Battle of Mincing on July 22, 1779. Brant's raid failed to disrupt the Continental Army's plan, however. It goes on to
Now stop right there,
mm-hmm.
please. Okay,
Highlighted them.
man. Oh man, we got the conditions of him receiving land under the Proclamation of 1763 and the Treaty of Fort Stanwix, which we have been hearing about. Okay, we have him being able to purchase land from his new salary of plunder, whereas he seemed to be the only one getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
We have him purchasing a slave girl who was supposed to be an African American at that time. That title didn't
Didn't
exist.
even exist.
By name of Sophia Berthan Pooley.
You
He
have to
served
ask
him for
yourself.
6 years.
No, but even
Yeah,
remember
go
what it
ahead.
said before that. his slaves were captured during his raids. But what type of raids were he doing? Indian raids, raiding other Indian
Exactly.
villages, taking them as
Right.
slaves. Mm-mm-mm.
But it's interesting how they point out that he had this one 7-year-old African American
African.
girl.
Yeah, they throw that in there to try to throw it off.
Um, so he's built a small chapel for Indians who started living nearby. There he also married for a third time Catherine Krogan. Then it says Brant's honors and gifts caused jealousy among rival chiefs, in particular the Seneca war chief Sayen Guragata. Now I
Sayings.
want to read who this I want to read who this chief is.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
And I'll put his name in the back check.
I already got the article posting it.
Oh, okay.
I got my speed mouse today.
So San Quatata was the war chief of the Eastern Seneca tribe in the mid 18th century. His name in Seneca language meaning disappearing smoke. It's
Poof.
phonetically rendered as Kayanakwa tone, Kayanakwa tone, and was spelled in a variety of ways, including Gaya Guado and Kayan Quaragantan. In historical records, he is most often known as Sayan Quaragata. Sayan Quaragata. You did that. Say that for now until I can either find the correct saying or somebody else can help. Which was his name in the Mohawk language. So that was the Mohawk language. So that's what he called himself. But they called him Disappearing Smoke. Okay.
Poof.
Or by nicknames as Old Smoke or the Seneca King.
You don't want no
It is
smoke.
also said that he it's also said he was called Old Smoke because he held an official position as the smoke bearer. Okay. He was born the son of Kayan Guadagata, a prominent Seneca chief of the tribe clan, of the Turtle clan in the western New York. He lived most of his life at Ganondon near the present day town of Geneva, New York. He obtained his rank of war chief in 1751 before the American Revolution. He was referred to as a chief of the Senecas. He served on the British side during the French and Indian War and was present at the Battle of Fort Niagara. During Pontiac's Rebellion, now we know what Pontiac's Rebellion is when they basically um, you had Indians that wanted nothing to do with the Europeans and thought that the Indians and the Europeans should live separate lives and go back to where they came from. During Pontiac's Rebellion, he was the Seneca war chief who defeated the British at the Battle of Devil's Hole. A portion of Seneca fought the British during Pontiac's War of 1763 and 1764. The Seneca came to Fort Niagara where they made peace, and Guadagata buried the axe. In 1765, he received Samuel Kirkland, Sir William Johnson's envoy, and at that time extended protection to Kirkland by adopting him into his family. Hmm,
Here all this adopting again.
that's key.
Mm-hmm.
So he received an envoy, which means somebody came by ship and extended protection to Kirkland by adopting Kirkland into his family. So Kirkland got into his family basically, which means that they were now considered Seneca, and now they were probably going to marry
Mary
within
Ann,
each other's families.
get
Keep that in
rights.
mind.
Yep. That's how they were doing it. We
Also in
see.
1765, he, along with Handsome Lake and about 100 other Seneca warriors, went on an expedition against the Cherokee and Choctaw. This expedition was remembered nearly a century later for the loot of scalps and other trophies obtained. So it seems like the Seneca, the Cherokee, and the Choctaw have been battling for at least 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at his part in the American Revolution. Early in the American Revolution, Sayan Guadagata tried to keep the Iroquois neutral. He attempted in June 1777 to retrieve Seneca warriors who had joined Butler at Fort Niagara. In July 1777, the Seneca decided to enter the war on the British side, and he was named along with Cornplanter to be the war chiefs of the Iroquois Confederacy. That's the second time we've heard that we've seen that name Cornplanter.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the organizers of the ambush of the Battle of Oriskany, where his son was killed. He was a primary Indian leader of the Battle of Wyoming. His village of Thayendanegea was destroyed during the Sullivan campaign and was not rebuilt. That's jacked up. Sometime before 1781, he and his family relocated to Buffalo Creek near Fort Niagara. In 1779, he started receiving a pension from the British of $100 per year. He resented the favorable treatment the British gave to Joseph Brant. Thayendanegea was at the Battle of Johnstown and other battles. In 1781, he led a war party towards Fort Pitt. He was described by General Frederick Haldeman as by many degrees the most leading and the man hold on by many degrees the most leading and the man of most consequences and influence in Six Nations. So so this chief was very influential in the Six Nations. In 1783, a British officer said he is a sensible old man and has been a very good warrior in his day, but like the rest, is a very much addicted to liquor.
Mm-mm-mm. Here we go again.
He died in 1786 in Smoke Creek, Lackawanna, New York. Now, again, take this with a grain of salt, but there has to be some validity to it. There's got to be something that we could take from this information.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to wonder if the reason why Brant was as productive as he was is because he never drank. Because they never say he drank.
Yeah, you never hear stories of him drinking, but you hear him stories of making deals passing rum and beer off to other tribes. But then you got to
Yeah,
realize he admired the Europeans. He lived among them.
yeah. So here's another example of a Seneca chief who had influence over the Six Nations, who didn't too much care for the treatment of Joseph Brant, who was involved in a lot of wars and fought alongside Brant, even against the Pontiac's rebellion. So he didn't have a problem with mixing and intermarrying with the Europeans because in 1765 he received Samuel Kirkland, Sir William Johnston's envoy, and extended protection to the Kirkland by adopting him into his family. So not only was he protecting him, he extended protection by bringing him into his family, meaning that eventually that um, Samuel Kirkland's family was eventually going to be part of the tribe and eventually be on the council and potentially eventually a chief.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw them talking about Corn Planter because Corn Planter was another chief
Mm-hmm.
in the war, chief of the Iroquois Confederacy. So shall we see who that is?
Why not? Let's go. Dig them all up. That's how I'm looking at. That's the only way you're gonna get to the bottom of it. And by like we said before, Copper Indio, thanks for some of the information he bought on last night's show. It validates a lot of the things that you read when, like you said before, when that's somebody's tribe and they can give you tribal history and tribal stories that can validate a lot of these books and literatures that was left behind that we read.
Grand Rising Free. Hope all is well with you.
Grand Rising.
We're still on American Revolution or the Revolutionary War. We're still on John Brant. So now we're talking about some of the chiefs who, along with John Brant, sided with the British. And we're starting to see that John Brant received preferential treatment. But just like John Brant, Joseph Brant, excuse me, I don't know why I want to call that man John.
Mm,
But just like Joseph Brant, these chiefs were also cohabitating, protecting, and intermingling with the Europeans. and bringing them into their families. So we're going to talk a little bit now about Corn Planter, who was another chief of the Confederacy, of the Iroquois Confederacy. Um, he was listed or named as John Abbey III, born between 1732 and 1746, February 18th, 1836, known as Giant Waki, or Cayu Kai Tawakan, Kayutawakan. So they called him John Abbey because they gonna sure enough couldn't pronounce Kayan
Giant
Wakan.
wake. That's how I'm gonna say
I
it. No,
know,
let me.
right?
That's how it looked. Giant wake.
And is and another way they pronounced it or spelled it was Kain Twakan, which basically means by what one plants in
Hmm.
Seneca language. So that's what they call him in their language of Seneca, and thus generally known as Corn Planter.
He
He was
planted
a Seneca
corn.
war chief and a diplomat of the Wolf Clan. As a chief warrior, Cornplanter fought in the French and Indian War and the American Revolutionary War. In both wars, the Seneca and three other Iroquois nations were allied with the British. After the war, Cornplanter led negotiations with the United Nations, with the United States, and was a signatory of the Treaty of Fort Stanwix. Did we read about that treaty?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Okay. He helped gain Iroquois neutrality during the Northwest Indian War. In the post-war years, Cornplanter worked to learn more about European American ways and invited Quakers to establish schools in Seneca territory. Okay, okay, stop. Now we see how these schools are getting on this Indian land.
Hmm. The Chiefs are
And
inviting a lot of them.
yeah, go ahead.
No, that's all I was gonna say. The Chiefs are inviting them. You know, he invited Quakers to establish schools in Seneca territory.
Because you got to think about it. These Quakers were not people of war.
Hmm.
So you have to think, if, how did they end up having these schools, these Indian schools, these religious entities on this land? And here's an example of how that happened.
Hmm.
These chiefs were inviting these Quakers. That says that he was studying. They said he was studying these people.
European and American ways and invited them. I mean, if you take a step back and remove the emotion, you can kind of get what's going on. He was fond of the American and European ways. So now, in order for him to keep the power that he's learning about through them, you got to convert your population. I mean, wouldn't that be the next move? If they giving these chiefs all these type of ranks and things like that, in order for them to keep it, wouldn't they have to convert their population to a European slash American lifestyle? I could be wrong. I'm just saying. I'm like,
And if you think about it, what's more powerful than being a chief if you're dealing with Europeans? If you want to be equal to Joseph Brant, excuse me, what do you want to be titled as? You don't not only want to be titled as a chief, but you also want to be titled as a king.
hmm. And in order to get the
So
title of a king, you need subjects, land and subjects.
exactly. So if that's the case, this is the reason why it would appear to me that he's studying these European ways and he's allowing and inviting Quakers to establish schools in Seneca territory.
Yeah, because they can get the European
It
type of
says
rulership if you think about it. Because over here we didn't have no king and queen system like they had over there. So if it's new to coming over here and you see what they doing, they're handpicking particular chiefs to work with like this, basically creating extensions of their empires over here.
now here's the funny part. Now this is the way they twist it. It says disillusioned by his people's poor reaction to European American society, he had to produce clothes that followed his half brother Handsome Lake's movement, returning to the traditional Seneca way and religion. The United States government granted him about 15,000 acres of former Seneca territory in Pennsylvania in 1796 for him and his heirs forever, which
Forever.
became known as Cornplanter Tract.
But you see what it say? Him and his heirs forever.
Forever's a long time.
Ever,
It
ever?
says it says still occupied by his descendants and holding his and many of their graves. The tract was planted by the federal government to be flooded as the site of a man-made reservoir after 1965
Then we
by
talk about
completion
this.
of the Kinzu Dam on the Allegheny River. The remains of Cornblatter and his descendants and an 1866 monument to him were relocated. Most of the remaining residents were forced to relocate to the Allegheny Reservation, a federally recognized Seneca Nation in New York. They lost much of their fertile farmland.
So that's how they moved them out, huh? Them dams and floods.
So the name they gave him, Joannes Abel, is Dutch. Oh, his
Hmm.
parents. Okay, so they said his parents. One of his parents was Seneca, and the other parent was Dutch.
I
So
wonder how that
interesting.
was. But you know, I remember his name. I'm going to tell you the one thing that's pointing out to me in all these chiefs that's doing these deals. And it's not picking out one clan and saying nothing like that. But you notice they all coming from the Wolf clan. All their mothers tie back into the Wolf clan. Remember, him, uh, Brant, they're Wolf clans. Remember, it was Brant's mother that had the seat and the power to choose who would be next in charge.
That's true.
So could it be the reason why, like we said before, we already know that the French and Spanish and it was dealing with the Iroquois, and that's how they got how that's how they got the Iroquois name. But like, wow, that's how they got in. They made a deal with them first and came in through there. Then they started because you know what I don't see, and I could be wrong, but what I haven't
What's that?
read yet is no other tribes to where is that dominant of this takeover in. What I mean, because you notice all these chiefs is working with each other. They're half breeds,
Yeah,
crossovers.
they're yeah, they would be considered mulattoes. Exactly. By their mother's line, which is the reason why tribes today say you have to be on it has to be on your mother's side. And the reason why that is because the majority of the individuals that are applying for this citizen was applying for citizenship through these Indians
Or them.
are mulattoes or mixed.
Hmm.
Where if you're melanated on both sides, it doesn't matter.
But if you're a
And
mulatto,
they're
they
still
need to
doing
know
this to
what
this day.
side. Yep, they need to know what side.
Exactly.
Because depending on what side, because it's the mother side that's going to entitle you to inheritance. And then it's kind of funny while you see in history they started changing it over time so they can have another way of getting into power. And I'm gonna stop saying that for them to get into power because it's obvious they had Indian hands. Ain't nobody come over here and take nothing. They work together.
Yeah.
And when we read a story that it got to the point to some of these people intermingled and interbreeded with each other so much that you can no longer tell them apart. So
Yep.
you might think that's a European, but that's an Indian that been intermarried and bred for so long. He's so pale now. Because I think it was last night we mentioned it. Isn't it ironic that you got the majority of all your lighter skinned Indians up north and all your darker ones are still in the south?
Exactly. And you know how we do as people. If you look like us and we hear that you part of us, then we accept you as us. We still do that to this day.
Yeah.
And this is not a disparaging mark, but I'm giving you an example. Like for instance, Drake, who happens to be a hip hop artist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think about it, could he or could he not pass both ways?
Yeah, he can. He let his hair grow. If Drake let his hair grow, slicker than this and that, that's where we got to be honest. He can go back and forth easily. Easily.
And isn't he from Canada?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
he
so
would
we
be an
know it's
example of
possible. Mm-hmm.
what those mulattoes would look like.
Yep. Yes, he would. Yes, he would. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Ain't that done?
So it seemed like the Europeans and the and the French were using these relationships with these tribes to one, learn, and two, marry into and be accepted. And that's the key word: be accepted. They were not forced based off of this information. They were not forced into these tribes. They were accepted into these tribes. So then they started marrying in, getting in with these tribal leaders who were Wolf Clan, and they started working their way into being chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Chief Corn Planter's life. It says Corn Planter was born between 1732 and 1746. So that means he was around the same age as John Brant. I mean
Yeah,
Joseph Brant. Excuse
they
me.
come from the same clan. Don't forget that. They both come from out of the Wolf clan, meaning they're related. Either by marriage,
Yep.
you get what I'm saying? Or by, and
Mm-hmm.
then when he took him on as a family, this is that thing when we talk about to where they bring people back in to keep the family circle. Remember when we talked about them marrying back into each other's family, interbreeding back into each other's family? That's what this is right here. When they taking on all these adopted
Exactly.
children, so-called adopted children, but you
Mm-hmm.
realize they're the children of another leader.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Free brings up a great point. She says, "I'd be willing to bet that's why they call the Great Spirit God, which read indigenously is dog. A
Dog.
dog is a domesticated wolf that has been intentionally bred for looks and behavior."
Yeah.
Wow.
Remember,
Yeah, if you think about it.
dogs are wolves, are domesticated wolves, where they bred out a lot of the animal traits. And when I mean bred out the animal traits, the wolves that you see today are not the wolves from back then. We got mutts
Yeah,
now.
those wolves could not be. Yeah, yeah, they could not be. You can't tame a wolf because wolves up in pack. There's always an alpha, and where that alpha goes, everybody else follows.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-mm-mm.
welcome everybody on the show. We are still going down this rabbit hole of the Revolutionary War, um, and we're still on some of the kings that fought alongside the Tuscarora, who fought alongside the the British. Even though we started out, because we think about it, we started out with the Tuscarora, who's fighting alongside the American, but
Mm-hmm.
every chief we're seeing is fought alongside the British, right? Am I right
Yep.
or wrong?
Right, so far.
So all this, so all of this started from looking at the Tuscarora, who during the American Revolutionary War was fighting with the Americans. But the chiefs that we're reading about from from going sideways and not looking at this thing linear are all sided with the British, and they've all intermarried with the British. And these chiefs are mulattoes because they are chiefs because they've run through their mother's side of the family, not their father's side, but the mother's side. And it says Corn Planter was born between 1732 and 1746 at Kanawaugas, the town of Caledonia of Genesee River, present day New York State. He was the son of a Seneca woman, and her name is pronounced Gahanoni, Gahanoni, she who goes to the river, and a Dutch trader, Johannes John Abel II. That's how he got in. So I'm gonna hate to do this, but we're gonna have to end up seeing how Johannes end up getting in with this with these Indians. But before that, let's continue to read. It says the Dutch had settled in the area generations before, and Corn Planter's father, an Albany fur trader, was part of an established family. The Abel family name was sometimes Gileadized to Obel, and Abel. John Abel II was connected to the Schuler family, leaders in business and politics. The grandfather, after whom he was named, Johannes Abel I, from 1667 to 1711, was a trader and merchant who built up links with the indigenous people along this trade routes, and who served as a second mayor of Albany, later the capital of New York. The younger John Abiel was a gunsmith and was gladly accepted into the Indian community to repair their guns. Stop. So by the time he's born, they're already two generations into this tribe. So these Dutch have already got into these families, these Indian families, and they've already rooted 2 years in. So you basically talk about two generations. This is the third generation, and we only talking about this the early 1700s. And so the younger John Nabil was a gunsmith and was gladly accepted into the Indian community to repair their guns. So that's how he got in. He was repairing their guns. So that means they had guns, which means they were partnering with the Europeans because they were one of the tribes that had guns. And Free says the land right side, mother side, they knew what they were doing. Look at the current results. Exactly. So this was something that got started back in the 1600s. Cornplanter was raised by his mother among the Seneca. His Seneca name, um, Gayant Gayantwaki, often spelled Gayantwachia, means the planter, and another variation, Cain Twakan, means by one who plants. As the Seneca and other Iroquois nations had a matrilineal system of kinship, Cornplanter was considered a member of his mother's clan, the Wolf Clan, which included many leaders in the relationships between settlers and Indians and gained his status from them. Males of the Wolf Clan had a traditional function as war chiefs. Mm-mm-mm. So it says that he was it said that he was raised by his mother among the Seneca. So that means while he was being raised by his mother among the Seneca, his father was probably doing politics on the Dutch side and was not part of the tribe.
Bingo.
So basically, his father planted a seed, let that seed grow to become chief, and he was off doing his stuff on a political side.
Yeah. So while you saying political, think about it. It's political leverage. You know you can get certain deals from certain tribes in certain areas because you put your man there. Ain't that's how it works now? In most
Yeah.
company mergers and deals, there's an inside person that been supplanted in that company. Other company done paid for them to go to
Hmm.
school, education, and everything just to get in, so we can find out the information we need to broker a deal. Ain't that a form of scouting?
Yeah.
Now we
What's
gotta.
it called? I'm trying to figure out what's it called when you bring what's that term? When you bring in all your family members to work the same job.
Oh,
It's not a flattering term. I cannot think of that term.
yeah,
Nepotism.
nepotism.
Is it
Yeah,
nepotism?
yep, nepotism. That's what it is. Placing all your own in. Yep, regardless of experience, just because of relation.
Exactly. So this is what they were doing. So Indians peep this out. This is some of the this is the potential of the way that they got in. So let's look at the war chief side of this. It says Corn Planter first became known as war chief of the Seneca when they allied with the French against the English during the French and Indian War, part of the 7 Years' War between European nations. He was present at Braddock's defeat. During the American Revolution, both Corn Planter and his uncle Chief uh, Guyasuta wanted the Iroquois nation to remain neutral. Now, here's another thing that we're seeing that these Indians still wanted to remain neutral. They did not want to fight. But in situations like this, they had no choice because if you are in between two warring factions, you're going to eventually have to choose a side, or whoever gets to you first is going to make you a slave. He
Mm-hmm.
believed the Iroquois should stay out of the white man's war. War is war, he told other Iroquois. Death is death. A fight is a hard business. Both the British and the American patriots had urged Iroquois nations to stay neutral. Both sides initially told Indians that there was no need for their involvement. When the fighting between the colonists and the British heated up, however, both sides tried to recruit the Iroquois as allies. So initially they was like, "Nah, y'all stay out of this."
Mm-hmm.
And then as the battle's starting to get bad, and they started to lose lives. Then they started recruiting because they was losing people. The British offered large amounts of goods, specifically rum and other goods, and built on their long trading relationships. You hear this now? I'm gonna say this again. I'm gonna read this again. The
Mm-hmm.
British offered large amounts of goods, specifically rum and other goods, and built on their long trading relationships. The Iroquois leaders met together in Oswego in July 1777 to vote on their decisions. Remember, they were still a nation that voted and did things systematically.
Yep.
No one person made the decision. It was decided together. So this wasn't a chief that decided on his or her own voices that I'm going to do this. It still had to be a vote.
Mm-hmm.
When the majority of the chiefs voted to side with the British, they both honored the majority decision. Because of the status of the Seneca as war chiefs among the Iroquois, most of the Iroquois Confederacy followed suit. Stop.
The Seneca was the warriors of the Iroquois group. That's why I'm glad we get into this point because each nation had a particular responsibility that formed the Iroquois Confederacy.
Hmm.
We got to remember
So when
tribes
there were
had
wars, the
responsibilities.
war chiefs were the ones that,
Oh,
exactly. So when there were wars, the war chiefs were the ones that led the fights. So if you are European and you understand this because you've been sitting and learning about these tribes, it's more advantageous for you to be what? A war chief because you're doing what? You're fighting wars with other European nations.
mm-hmm. Dun, 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 dun.
You have sons with Seneca women who ends up having your child, and he ends up being a war chief. Then now you have leverage, as Bones has said. Most of the Iroquois Confederacy followed suit. Still, bands often made their own decisions as the people were highly decentralized. The Iroquois named Saya, okay, Saya Quiragata and Corn Planter as war chiefs of the four nations that allied with the British, the Mohawk, Seneca, Onondaga, and Cayuga. Cornplanter joined forces with the Loyalists, Lieutenant Colonel John Butler, and his Rangers at the 1778 Battle of Wyoming Valley in present day Pennsylvania. They killed many settlers and destroyed their properties in what the rebel Americans called the Wyoming Massacre. Fighting on the frontier was fierce. Patriot forces under Colonel Thomas Hartley burned the Seneca village of Tioga. In reprisal, Corn Planter and Mohawk War Chief Joseph Brant, see, like you said, they were working together, participated in the 1778 Loyalist Iroquois attacks led by Captain Walter Butler and Butler's Rangers in Cherry Valley, New York. The Americans called these events the Cherry Valley Massacre. During this offensive, many unarmed Patriot civilians were killed or captured during this campaign. Corn Planter's men happened to capture his father. Oh, hold on. Corn Planter's men happened to capture his father, Joannes Abel, after burning his house. Corn Planter, who had once gone as a young man to see Abel, recognized him and offered an apology. He invited Abel to return to the Seneca or to go back to his white family. Wow.
Ain't these people
When his
that we
father
talked
chose
about
the
that can go
latter,
both
Corn Planter,
ways?
yep. When his father chose the latter, Corn Planter had Seneca warriors accompany him into safety. Mm-mm-mm.
But
So he
hold on.
planted his seed,
Uh
left
huh.
to go his white family. When they got raided, his son recognized him and saved his daggone life, and
Mm.
gave him the option to either come back home with me and mama,
And be
or you can
part of
go
the
with your
Indian
white family.
tribe, or go back to Europe and live there. It's your choice. What you want to do, pops? You know I
So
got you.
he says, "I'm going back. I'm going back with my white family. All right, y'all go ahead and watch his back, and y'all make sure he get there.
Make sure
Come
you
on,
get home
man, you can't
safe.
make this up. You can't make this up. That's like you coming. That's like you coming to the hood, right? You go to the hood and one of the women's rolling with the rolling 60s. You end up getting her pregnant, right? You go
Mm-hmm.
back to your suburbs. The rolling 60s end up putting that child as one of the chief slangers. He end up rising up in the hood and become one of the major dope dealers. They
Mm-hmm.
start taking over spots and they take over one of the suburbs. One of the suburbs just happened to be his pop's place.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of killing his pops, he let him slide.
I'm like, man, if y'all don't get your hands on
And
my pops, I know something. But why that would only make sense because he got power because of who? Who his father laid with.
come on, man, this ain't no joke. This is real. So again, we gotta stop placing blame
Starts
and
accepting a lot
stop
of this
trying to
responsibility.
exactly because this is these mulattoes are already three generations in by the mid 1700s.
Yep. Yes,
So
sir.
it says after the victories of the Loyalists and the Iroquois forces, Commander-in-Chief George Washington commissioned Major General John Sullivan to invade Six Nations territories throughout New York and destroy Iroquois villages at the Battle of Newtown. Sullivan defeated Iroquois and British troops, but Sullivan and his army of 5,000 men caused greater damage in the Scorched Earth campaign. They methodically destroyed Iroquois villages, farms, stored crops, and animals between May and September 1779 throughout the Iroquois homeland, upstate and western New York. Because you got to remember, they were able to do this because all of the chiefs and their men were out fighting. So who were left? The women and children. So even though the women and children had nothing to do with this fight, both sides were going around destroying Indian land, which was unoccupied at the time because those men were out fighting. That's another way they was able to destroy that land.
Mm-hmm.
If I got you fighting, ain't nobody. If I got you fighting for my side, then ain't nobody protecting your babies. Ain't nobody protecting your women.
Mm-hmm. Now, before you go deeper, it's something I wanted to read on the corn planter track. On the deal that they made
Go
with
ahead.
corn planter, it said the corn planter tract or corn planter Indian reservation was a plot of land in Elk Township, Warren County, Pennsylvania, that was administered by the Seneca tribe. The tract consisted of 1,500 acres along the Algene River. The tract comprised the only native reserve lands within the state of Pennsylvania during its existence. It was originally established in 1796 as a grant to John Carpenter, Cornplanter Abel, the Seneca diplomat, for his personal use with the right to pass the plot down through his descendants forever. Cornplanter promptly opened up his plot to native settlement, and within 2 years 400 Seneca were living on the tract. In 1918, most of Cornplanter's descendants were killed in the 1918 flu pandemic, and Jesse Cornplanter, the last male heir, died in 1957 without having children, leaving the plot without ownership. The plot was already largely abandoned as a residence by the time of Jesse's death, and a 1941 map shows only scattered buildings on the tract. In the early 1960s, construction of the Kanzu Dam created the Algin Reservoir, which submerged the vast majority of the tract. Graves located in a cemetery on the tract exhumed and their bodies, including what is believed to be corn planters, were re-entered in higher ground. And that's all it states on that. And there's something in the writing and wording of this that's starting to stick out to me. And I noticed that it's on purpose because they're talking about different people. But it said corn planter promptly opened up his plot to native settlement. It didn't say Indian settlement. It didn't say Seneca settlement. It says native settlement. But we also know at this time that there's a native born tribe, right? And this native born
Mm-hmm.
tribe isn't Indian.
Nope.
They're European descendants, the first set of European descendants born on this land. And they allowed them to identify themselves as a tribe. So now when they're saying native, could it be they're talking about their relatives that were born here?
I mean,
These.
yeah, if you think about it, because think about it, you think about Corn Planter's father, right?
Mm-hmm.
Corn Planter's father Corn Planter's father um was a gunsmith,
Mm-hmm.
but he married a Seneca woman. But he also had children who was half brothers of Corn Planter. So
Yeah.
these children were what? Native born.
Mm-hmm. Remember, Molly is whatchamacallit's half sister and related to Corn Planter as well.
Yeah,
Molly Brant, Joseph Brant's half
yeah,
sister.
because of who right. She had just as much pull and sway as her mother did, who was a leader of the Wolf Clan, just like Planter's mom was a leader of the Wolf Clan.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were the ones that gave birth to male war chiefs.
But you know what the funny thing is? What's Corn Planter's mom's name?
One who plants. What was her name? Hold on, let's go back up. I'll be able to tell you in a second. Give me a second. Sorry, y'all. Oh, her name is Gahanone. 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 She who goes to the river. Gahanone. She who goes to the river.
I'm
That was
wondering
her
her
name.
relation to whatchamacallit. To
You have to find that out.
oh, I forgot her name.
You
But
talking about to Molly?
yeah, Molly and Joseph Brant's
To
mom.
Molly Brant?
Yeah, because if Joseph Brant and Molly Brant's mom is the leader of the Wolf clan, right?
They probably sisters. They probably sisters.
That's what I'm getting at. Could this be the ruling family of these tribes that they're dealing with?
I would say so. Let's see who she is, because they just mention her name and then they don't say anything about her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, let me see if we can find it under Seneca right quick.
Because that's the thing. You
Okay,
can't have two at the same time. So if his mother and the other mother they sit as high council members on the Wolf Clan, and we know that they're family, yeah, his mother, a sister, or aunt, something.
there's a lot of information on it when it comes to the Seneca. I'm starting to see some of the same names, but I'm not seeing the women
Yeah, the same
who
people names,
were
yeah.
the head. Can you put the link in the back? Can you put the link in the chat so everybody can take a look at it? Or
Yeah.
you want me to do it?
For the type of corn planters.
Corn planters and also the Seneca, because
All
I
right.
mean we need to find out who these two women were, who were the mothers of Corn Planter, who was the mother of John Brant, um, because they go to a major extent to mention that this was a matrilineal society and that the power and ownership went through the mother, which is the reason why these chiefs were in power. Because the women, here goes again, the Clan had a matrilineal kinship system.
His mother was a Seneca princess,
So that should say something. That should
meaning
tell
that
you
she
something.
would have to have relation to Brant's mom. for her to be the princess.
Yeah. Y'all forgive us. It's they break down matrilineal kinship, so they break it down into two things. So it's not that's going to be. We'll come across it. So she was. You said so. She was a Seneca princess. You know what we're gonna have to end up doing. We're gonna have to end up basically breaking what you doing with the show, breaking it down on the evening, and putting that information out there because this is we'll never get done with this war. While you doing that, I'm gonna go back and finish reading. Um, okay, so now we're at the point where the Iroquois League met together in Oswego in 1777 to vote on their decisions. Although Gasuta and Cornplanter voted for neutrality, when the majority of the chiefs voted to side with the British, they both honored the majority decision. Because of the status of the Seneca as war chiefs among the Iroquois, most of the Iroquois Confederacy followed suit. Steel bands often made their own decisions as the people were highly decentralized. The Iroquois named Sayagutagata Gata and Planter as war chief of the four nations that allied with the British, the Mohawks, the Seneca, the Onondaga, and the Cayugas. So it talks about them joining forces with the Loyalists. Talks about the Patriot forces under Colonel Thomas Hartley, Cherry Hill Massacre. So we talked about that. And then we go down to the post-Revolutionary War years. So I'm still reading on corn planters for those that want to follow along if you're able.
Yeah, I placed
So
posted corn planter.
post-Revolutionary War years. So we're talking about what happened after the Revolutionary War. It says with Britain's final defeat in the war, Cornplanter recognized the need for a positive diplomatic relationship with the fledgling government of what the Iroquois called the 13 Fires. He became a negotiator in dispute between the New Americas and the Seneca, as well as other indigenous tribes. He was a signatory of the Treaty of Fort Stanwich. Although this treaty was never ratified by the Iroquois, he also participated in later meetings with both Presidents George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. So after he realized after the British got their butt kicked, Cornplanter realized that he needed to have some diplomatic relations with the United States because now they were in charge of the lands that his people were once on, especially up in New York. So he had to be diplomatic. So that's why he was responsible, and he was one of the signatories of the Treaty of Fort Stanwich, just like Joseph Brant was. After the American Revolution, Native Americans west of the Allegheny Mountains mounted a resistance to the European American settlers in the Northwest Indian War in Ohio and Indiana. Hoping to repulse the Americans, Cornplanter kept the Iroquois neutral in this conflict. Excuse me. In addition, he tried to negotiate with the Shawnee on behalf of the U.S. So he became so when he wasn't being a war chief, he was now negotiating. And I know, right? Free treaty time. 1790, Cornplanter and his brother Halftown. Okay, who the hell is this? Also a chief, traveled to Philadelphia to meet with President George Washington and Pennsylvania Governor Thomas Mifflin. They were protesting the current treatment of their people. Cornplanter and Halftown extracted an agreement from Washington and Mifflin to protect the Iroquois land. So they're already doing deals to protect their land, even though they basically have mollywopped by
Uh,
siding with the Britons.
TMH, you want to hear something? I'm finna
Yes.
post this for everyone because this is mind blowing. While you was doing that, I was
Okay.
looking up famous kin of corn planter, the Seneca war chief.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all strap in for
Right.
this one. Please strap in for this one.
Mm-mm.
Philip
Uh
Livingston,
oh.
the
Go ahead.
signer of the Declaration of Independence, is the third cousin one time removed from Peter Tijix of Edmond. Theodore Roosevelt is the third cousin of the corn planters. Eleanor Roosevelt, third time cousin, fourth time removed. Hold on, we are not done. Thomas Edison is the fourth cousin. Second times removed, VIA Abraham Isaac Verpanek. Franklin D. Roosevelt is the fourth time cousin of this dude. George H.W. Bush is the fourth cousin, six times removed from them. George W. Bush's son is another cousin removed from them. Jeb Bush is related back to this dude. The start of the damn Bush family. Excuse my language. I'm finna post this up where they got their
Commander,
whole thing in here so everybody can see this. I'm posting this.
co- commander and
Chief,
chief. Commander and chief. So these mulattoes are all they are embedded in our politics.
man, I
So
look.
these you so these so we're calling these you had mentioned something a long time ago. You and Freya brought this to our attention a long time ago. We don't know who these mulattoes are. We don't know who's considered a mulatto.
Mm-hmm. I posted this family tree in the chat.
So so that explains a lot. That explains a lot.
I'm posting the family surnames too. All the different surnames for the family. The first one that's posted, that says Ken, where it shows you all the people that's related and how they're related. And the last one I posted up, that shows the surnames of the family. So you can track all their relatives from the last names. And it's like, wow.
Okay, we gotta stop here. We gotta stop here because we gotta talk about this. Yeah, David. We can't gloss over that. We can't gloss over that.
I'm finna post the family tree back in there again, just in case people didn't get it.
You got to be kidding me. Mm-mm.
Then ancestry or corn planter.
So could that be part of so let's look at this. We know that the presidencies tie in to masonry, right?
Mm-hmm. We know they were Masons.
So and we all suspect that the elections are manipulated, and we all suspect that these mulattoes are are in office of power. Uh, EJ Carpentone says, "Hey y'all, I just found some ish on my family lineage. Cool. Send us your email, and we can chop it up, and
Mm-hmm.
we can do a community spotlight on it. Um, uh, this is come on, man.
Wow.
You can't make this up. You
And the
can't make this up.
Bush and all them are related through Catherine Sculliver. That's where their family line comes in.
So
Wow, man.
here's a challenge now. You can't kick them off the land. You can't tell them to go home because our ancestors were doing deals. They are home.
Let that sink in. I'm finna post the family tree so everybody else can be mind blown off of this. This is their family tree that I just posted up for everyone. David Corey said I shouldn't have found that. It's buffering now since we since I put it up there. And like, hold on, they don't. What? I'm like, wow, genealogy. See what genealogy gets you? Yeah, the last post is their family tree, and you can see the Bush's great 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 grandparents back to the 1600s. I'm just
Oh,
Philip
breaking it
Livingston.
back, bro.
They related to the signer of the Declaration of Independence. Theodore Roosevelt, Eleanor, Thomas Edison, Franklin D. Roosevelt, the Bushes. What more do we need?
Phone.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you. It's kind of shaky, breaking up. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah, it's not on our
You
end.
found something you ain't got no business because we are buffering. Back. They said we're buffering.
Yeah, something is because we're good on this. The stream is good and healthy. CPU is only at 11%. Wow.
Yeah, we get some interference. Make sure you get EJ Carpenter's email address.
All right.
Okay, you sound a lot better now. Are we still buffering? How we sound? How we sound out there? Give us some ones if we sounding good. Give us some twos if we still buffering.
Yeah, 'cause we don't know what
Ones if we
happened.
sound good. Twos if we're buffering. Ones if we sound good. Twos if we're buffering. I know there's a lag, so I'm gonna. We just gonna wait. We just gonna keep on talking. So, dude,
Mm-hmm.
we cannot send these Europeans home
You can't even call them
because they.
Europeans.
Yeah,
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 David
yeah,
Corey.
yeah.
I put the hard hat on and found a landmine. Metal detector went off immediately. Like, hold on now. Hold on. Wait a minute. Stop the
So,
presses.
so, 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 so here's the deal. So let's look at it from this perspective. In a game of chess, you know that eventually the melanated Indians were going to wake up. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you make sure that you don't get kicked off?
Cement
Make sure
yourself
you're part
in.
of the family.
Exactly. You make yourself part of their family. You make yourself part of their blood. So to kick them off, you got to remove yourself.
And I bet you a majority of the people that are in politics have ties to these families.
Oh yeah, I'm willing to
They
bet it
know
all.
their
Listen,
genealogy.
I'm willing
They
to
know
bet
their
the
genealogy.
house, the bank, the neighbor's dog on this one. Betting the neighbor's good along with mine on this one. 'Cause boy,
Well, David Corey, I mean, at the end of the day, man, we we, we part of this. We allow this to happen. You know,
we had
myself, I
tribes
had
that.
to been out gallivanting. I had
Mm-hmm.
been out gallivanting, going and doing trades, and then bringing back these white women. It's safe to say that none of this would have happened, or wouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
happened this way. So I have to accept just as much responsibility for what my tribe did as anybody else. EJ Coppertone says I could trace the whole Washington lineage to my family. I am
Probably
not
be.
surprised, especially after
It
what you
should be
just said.
easier now. I put their what you call it in the back. Oh, you said Washington. Okay, yeah, yeah. You should be. Man, y'all be surprised. We have to tie into different people here, because how else do you think they were able to get the ability to move around?
And the reason why they were able to easily war, especially in the north, was because they had already developed relationships with these tribes.
Mm-hmm.
They already knew who the women were that decided the warriors.
David Corey, I'm putting the links back in. The first one, that's all the politicians and famous people that they're related to. Here's their family tree to where you can see the others that tie in. And here's the main page to where they break down the famous kinship of the family tree group, the family pedigree, the surnames of the family. I'm finna post that one now. So all three links is him, family history, how they tie in.
So here's the question now. Here's the question I need everybody to ask. All these YouTube Indians and all these platforms that are promoting this conscious effort to get this information out. How do you kick your own family off the land?
How? I'll wait.
They know more about their genealogy than you do. How are you going to kick them off the land? How are you gonna form your own tribe when they already have ties to this land?
When they're
Now
already in your tribe. Because of
so
certain
let's look
chiefs,
at this
they
now.
are your tribe.
Exactly. So let's look at that. Now we got these political figures like the Bush family, right?
Hmm.
You know they know who their tribal members are. You know they know who their lineage is.
Yeah.
They know who their family is. You don't know who your family is. You're going to decide you're going to get your own tribe. You're going to buy some land. You're going to purchase it from some commercial real estate. Come to find out one of the Bush's family ties into that could possibly tie into like one of my family members does. But instead of us getting it, the Bush family gets it because you didn't tie to your damn tribe.
And they
Now we kick
are.
your ass out and you are a fugitive.
And they've been tied in
Come on
from
now.
day one since they've been born. Now do y'all
One.
get it? Now do y'all understand why the government pushes this sovereign citizen movement and allow it to play out on our people? Because they want you to pull away from it. Because if you pull away from it, they already know they got ties to this land because they married in. These people were having 4, 5 Indian wives, 6, 7 children. So let's think for a second. They are you. The only difference is you don't know.
Think about this. If this information is public knowledge, right? Don't you think they know? If we know it, don't you think they know? And if they know it, look at the policies that are being put in place. Look at who the president is now. They still warring.
Mm-hmm.
They just putting themselves in place. So now let's look at ADOS. Let's
Yeah.
look at ADOS now.
Mm-hmm. Who Ados really talking about? Them?
Let's look at ADOS now.
Would that be them? American descendants of slavery? Hmm.
It says American descendants of slaves. Don't say American descendants of African slaves.
Nope. Yeah, they want you to get off cold, LJ free, because the more we get off cold,
They said
the
that
more entrenched they could get into our land. Because you have to think about it. Some of them have the same birthrights we have. Think about this for a second, relatives. Let's think. Some of them share our same bloodlines. Just like how they fourth time cousins, a lot of us are fourth time cousins to the same people. And like TMH just said, they know we don't. So we keep claiming all these other things. We keep talking about leaving. We keep talking about the hell with the government. Or we want to be sovereign. What are we really doing? Aren't we helping them take over our homeland? Aren't we turning our back on it so we letting our married in relatives use their birthright, supplant ours because we're not using ours? Obviously, to me, this thing of genealogy seems like it's a hang up for our people because they know. By knowing what we found out this rising, you can tell they know. Look at how they maneuver. How TMA said, look at the policies over the last 50 years that were put in place. It all makes sense now. To make it as easy as possible or attractive as possible for you to remove yourself from your birthright.
As Free says, I can't curse you, but I can make you curse yourself. How do you curse yourself? Do not do your genealogy. Don't tie into your tribe because when that land is released, guess who it's going to? The Bushes and they
Mm-hmm.
family.
Now, since you know the bushes are tied in, they have the same claim that a lot of us have. Now look at the land that they own and they drilled for oil. Look at the property that the Bushes own. Look at the territory that they consume to this day. I bet you if we match it up, I bet you it matches back to his family. Because what did it state? Didn't it state the land, all the land? See, we only talking about the 1,500 acres that got flooded. But what about the land in all the other places that he had the right to keep passing down to his family? So now let's start looking at these politicians and where their wealth come from. I'm willing to bet it ain't nothing but Indian land and inheritance that they're passing down.
Yep, that's all it is. And and
Facts, EJ
and
Cooper, they
and David,
needed
I'm
this for
glad.
all this. They needed us to pull all this off. Without us, this does not happen. If we don't play ball with them, this does not happen. Then the Lenape was trying to tell everybody then, no, we can be cool with them, but send them home. We'll send you a postcard. Ain't nothing personal.
So
But what
how do you kick your own brothers and sisters off of land that they got rights to? That they got more rights to than you because they tied into their tribe. They're tied into their tribe. They know who they know how they're tied in.
could that be the link between them? That all presidents link back through tribes through their mother's line here?
Dude, it would have to.
Because I'm going to say something about Obama that's very interesting that we overlooked. Everybody focused on the dark skin part, but where's his mother from
Hmm.
again?
Where is Obama, President Obama's mom from? I know he lived in Hawaii, but I don't think she's from Hawaii.
Wichita, Kansas is where his mother was born.
Wow, he looks just like his mother.
And Durham is
So
her name.
Stanley Ann Durham was an American anthropologist who specialized in economic anthropology and rural development of Indonesia. She was the mother of Barack Obama, the 44th president of the United States. Durham was known as Stanley Ann Durham through high school, then as Ann Durham, Ann Obama, Ann Sotoro, Ann Sutoro, and finally, after her second divorce, Ann Ann Dunham. Born in Wichita, Kansas, Dunham studied in the East Western Center of the University of Hawaii at Manoa and Honolulu, and she obtained a bachelor's degree in arts and anthropology and later received a master's of arts degree also in anthropology. She also attended the University of Washington, Seattle. So
I'm looking up
what's
her mother now. May and Lee Payne is her mother.
says she the only child of Madeline Lee Payne and Stanley Armour Dunham. She was predominantly English ancestry with some Scottish, Welsh, Irish, German, and Swiss, while Bill Hickok is her sixth cousin, 5 times removed. Announced. Let me bet you that Wild Bill Hickok is funny.
Maya Soto is their grandmother. Wow. All right, her parents, Rolla Charles Payne and Lenola McCurry Payne. I'm just looking something up real quick. I'm trying to see something.
This is crazy, y'all. I mean, this is like David Corey said that Doc Man X hit on that. Okay, and I'm glad that he did hit on that, and I commend him for it. But here's the question: what do we do with this information? Because at the end of the day, we now know something that we should have known.
Mm-hmm.
They already tied in. A lot of the politicians are tied in, married in, and they have access to this land. So if we don't do our genealogy, we screwed. If you don't understand the importance of genealogy now, there is nothing that we can tell you that's going to help you to understand the importance of genealogy.
Mm-hmm.
I am certain that a lot of these politicians are tied in and know their genealogy and can tie in through these lines, especially from the Algonquins, the Iroquois who spoke
Mm-hmm.
Algonquin. Because you think about it, these two chiefs, these two war chiefs, were also Masons. I don't know anybody that's ever been indoctrinated into any of the Mason rituals, but I bet you they know their family tree. I'm almost willing to bet you they do, especially the ones that are higher up. You have to know where you're from.
Yeah, and even to be a part of it, you have to know.
So a lot of us, including me, been banging on our chest talking about European, 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 when in fact they have more ties to the land than many of us who have not yet done our genealogy. You can't kick them off this land. We allow them to marry in and get access to this land. So, in order for you not to get kicked off the land, you have to do your genealogy. And because they are tied in and they have access, think about this. Any person in politics has access and they have access to the archives. They
Mm-hmm.
know where all the land is. So you can mess around and form a tribe if you want to. You can mess around and buy land if you want to. If they want you off their land, what you gonna do? What
If you
petition did you
could,
gonna put
um,
together?
Guess who Obama is related to, y'all?
Who is Obama related to?
John Punch. The name rings a bell to anyone? John Punch. John Punch is his seventh great grandfather, listed as the first American slave.
wow.
No, yeah, John. Oh my goodness. It's not Punch, it's Bunch. He's related. Obama is comes through the Bunch line. John Bunch, John Bunch, John Bunch, Samuel Bunch, Charles Bunch, Nathaniel Bunch, Anna Bunch, Francis Ann Islet. Then his great great grandmother that was born in 1869, Margaret Bell Wright. Opening up to John.
So for those of you who are just joining on, who just came on, we found a landmine. We were doing, we were looking up some of the war chiefs of the Revolutionary War. These war chiefs were warring with the Tuscarosa, and they were Seneca. Why is that important? The Seneca are part of the five nations of the Iroquois, or the Haudenosaunee tribe, which basically means those of the Longhouse. This tribe has a matrilineal line, and what they do is the women who are the matriarchs, who are in charge, choose the war chiefs. The war chiefs are the ones that the Iroquois follow. So what has happened is you have Europeans that have married some of these princesses and have sons who end up becoming the war chiefs. Come to find out, these war chiefs have been in all these battles are direct descendants of some of the presidents and some of the politicians and some of the famous people here. So they have ties to their land. You can't kick them off their land. They can send you
I
home
was
before
I
you
was
send.
just about to ask you to repeat that. I'm glad you got back to it. Thank
Yeah, they can send you home before you send them home. Mess around and don't know who your tribe is. You get kicked off your own land. And Free said that's why Elizabeth Warren felt so empowered by claiming her Indian ancestry and why Trump mollywopped her foot up, mollywopped her for it. They're definitely still at war with each other. Exactly. So majority of these politicians and people are in power have Indian ties. They know who their ancestors are. They are tied in. This stuff is public knowledge. We just found this on Wikipedia. Y'all better stop playing. Better stop playing. This is nothing to joke with. The 2020 census is coming up. Now you mess around and create some fake tribe if you want to. Talk about get off my land. What land do you have? If you don't tie into a tribe where you got presidents that can tie into a tribe, you got politicians that can tie into a tribe, who are you kicking off? Just like you come into my land, I dare you to come on my land telling me I got to go because this ain't my deed and I can prove that I got the deed. Guess who getting kicked off the land? Matter of fact, I can shoot you and your petition. This ain't no game. Y'all playing checkers.
They playing chess, and most of y'all stuck on Chinese checkers.
They already got y'all. They already 100 moves ahead. They 6 games deep. You ain't even got to the first game. You better wake up.
Like last year, I
You're
knew
right,
it.
David Corey. All presidents have the right to be rulers here because they are part of this land. They can tie directly to. They can. The Bush family can tie directly to corn planters.
I just posted that up in there. That's their fourth time cousin.
I don't know if all presidents have the right to be here because we know Bush don't. He's a third generation American. His great grandfather was an immigrant. Now I wouldn't be surprised if he could tie into it. Ain't no telling. Ain't no telling. Because they know how the bloodlines work. They know how the genealogies work. They know our people. Y'all gotta wake up. We gotta wake up.
Yeah, we got to get together and talk to him, H. I done found something.
you. Hold it now.
Cross referencing the Bunch family with something I found on Ancestry.
So Dakota X says sounds like we're playing their game. What is their game? Because they're tied into this land. They can go back to their genealogy. If you can't prove who you are on this land, then what game are we playing of theirs?
Mm-hmm.
Because we created the system. So what game are we playing of theirs?
See, this is the thing that we have to be careful of. Where it says, I don't agree with position, and here's why. Were we here before the invasion, colonization, yes or no? If if is why, if it's yes, why would I need to prove to them and their descendants anything? It's simple. Probably came in the conversation late. It's because this so-called invasion was never an invasion.
It was an invitation.
It was an invitation from chiefs. Like we read earlier, chiefs were making deals with them and asking the Quakers to come over here to open up schools to teach their people. Because you have to realize, we never had a system of kings and queens like that. We had a voting system. So what happens when you teach a group of half, let's say, crossover Indians, a new governmental system that shows them that they can reign and have power just by making commerce deals with foreigners? And yes, we was here before ink and paper, but I'm finna say it again. Nobody took anything. Your own people sold you out. So then again, you need to do your work to find out who you are. I said this statement last night in the other rise, and I'm finna say this again. And I need everybody to think this out. Remove the emotions and let's be honest and process this. I have a car. My car gets stolen. My car, I see 6 houses down from mine. Can I go down there and snatch that car back without no ramifications? Or do I need paperwork proving that I am the owner of the vehicle? Let's be honest here.
Yeah, you need the paperwork.
So, if you need paperwork to prove ownership, the reason why we're getting paperwork isn't to prove anything to nobody, it's to show ownership. How can you claim something if you don't even know if it's yours? This is where we got to be careful at. This is why we have to do our genealogy. No, I'm not finding nothing, Jay. I just found some bunches in my family tree. Jesse Bunch, Amy Bunch, John Bunch. I'm like, come on, this 2 days in a row, man.
And at the end of the day, here's the thing, and this is not an argument. And you brought up and the codex. You bring up great points, but at the end of the day, I hear what you're saying. But at the end of the day, we may have been here before the ink and paper, but we invited them, and now they are embedded in our ink and paper. Because here's the thing that we keep forgetting. Some of us, not all of us. We invited them.
Mm-hmm.
My tribe was responsible for bringing back some of these white women slaves. They called us Moors. So now here's the reason. Here is where I got some say in this, because I know who my tribe is and I know what they've done and I know what they're guilty of. If you don't know who your tribe is, you can't tell me about my tribe.
No, you
What
cannot.
do we always say? What has it been said? You can't tell me if you can't tell me who I am. You damn sure can't tell me who I'm not. So if I'm telling you what my tribe has done, what you're saying don't mean anything if you can't tell me what your tribe did. If you can't tell me who your tribe is, because I know who I am now. So now that I know who I am and I know what my tribe is, now we got to have a conversation based off of facts, not based off of
Mm-hmm.
thoughts or
Emotions and
ideologies.
speculation. Yeah. And then let's look
I
at it
know what
like
my tribe is
this.
responsible for. Go ahead,
Let's
Tom.
stop treating this paperwork like this paperwork is something foreign. Our ancestors was tracking everything before these people came. We had paperwork before the European came. How do you think the European learned about paperwork? And remember what
And
we're
the
saying, all
Constitution passed on.
tribes, yeah, all tribes did not make deals with them, but a lot of tribes did. We had tribes that split up in 4 different groups because one side of the tribe went with the Spanish, another couple of families went French, another couple of families went British, and another couple of families said, "Oh, I'm not finna rock with neither one. We ain't leaving."
That's the
So,
Potomac Rebellion or the Pontiac Rebellion.
so now let's add 100 years to this. You can even add 200 years to this. This family split 4 ways, but aren't they still family? Yes, the Kodak, it wasn't stolen. Your chiefs at the time did bargains and traded it away. A lot of these people that you're trying to kick off by skin color, we got to face the fact. They're your relatives, regardless of what people look like. See, the eye test was the worst thing that ever happened because the mistake that we're making, we're trying to judge what you would consider a mulatto in the 1700s. But the census already told us a mulatto can be anybody who's of fair skin that has particular features. You could have been pale skinned, but had enough features to move back around the Indians, and guess what you were called? Mulatto. So let's use this term. If we know George Bush and his family is related to Joseph Brant, if we know this, that they all tie in, what is that telling you? The Bush family was considered mulattoes. Come on. We got to put the emotion aside. It's right in front of your face. No, see, this is the thing. You have to open up the treaties and you have to read the treaties. A lot of these treaties were honored, but you have to look at who the treaties were written to benefit. And the reason why these treaties don't benefit us, because the majority of us don't know who we are. These people always know who they are. Listen, all I did was just type in Joseph Brant ancestry, and it popped up. I got back to the 1500s on one click on this man family tree. They're going to make sure, that's why the paper trails are there. They're going to make sure that they do not ever forget. They're going to make sure that their children can always tie back into who they are. Now we got to do our due diligence. Stop the crybabying, stop the whining, stop the finger pointing, grow up, and learn who we are. What's so hard
Because
about
at the end
digging
of the
up
day,
history?
here's what I'm going to say to this. And again, I'm a show and prove type of person. I've never been one on talk about action. If what you're saying is right about these treaties and they need to get off our land, show me one, just one instance where someone made a petition and got anybody off this land. I'll wait. One. All I need is one. You only need one to be right. You only need one to be right. You only need one to be right. Show me one instance where a petition got these people off their land. You just need one instance.
And
We
let's
got
hit a
over we got over
rewind.
500 years of dealing with these Europeans. You only need one instance to be right. Only
All you
one.
need is one life.
All you need is
All you
one.
need is one to be right.
But
All
there
you need is
is
one.
none. You know why there is none? You know why that never happened and never will happen? I'm finna say it again. You might not like it. A lot of these people have the same rights you have. Let's go back to Joseph Brant. His mother was a what? Was a Indian, a high-ranking Indian. So if his mother
Descendant of princes.
is an Aboriginal, if you want to say, Negro, whatever you want to use to describe her, if that's what she is, right? She has the ability to pick the next ruler, right? And she picks him. What are you gonna do? Your auntie picked your other cousin to rule the house. What you gonna do? I'm waiting. Let's don't get
Jay
quiet.
brought up a point. Jay brought up a point that I want to address. He says so. He says so, and most of us darkies are on the losing side. Jay, it's not even about being on the losing side. It's about getting back to your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, once we get back to our tribe, now we can. Now that's a start. But we can't do anything until we tie back into our tribes. It ain't even about losing or winning. It's about getting back to our tribes and getting back on code. Until
Yeah.
we do that, as Free always says, once all first things are first, all second things follow. The first thing that we need to do is get back to our tribe, do our genealogy. This
Mm-hmm.
ain't even about losing and winning. This is about getting back to who your family is and finding out what the truth is and finding out what the story is.
Simple.
And here's my question I'm gonna ask for anybody that's out there listening. If you're not getting back to your tribe, the question I want to ask you is why not?
What are you afraid
Why
of?
not?
What are
And I'm
you
still waiting
hiding?
on that. And I'm still waiting on that one instance. And I'm still waiting on that one instance where somebody wrote a petition and got somebody off their land. You only need one instance. I
One,
need proof that that happened at least once, just once,
in the
just
history
once,
of
just
this
once.
land that we walk on, please do. David Corey hit it right on the head. It can't happen. See, this is the thing. You have to remove the emotions. They're your cousins. That's why you must do your genealogy to find out who's your real family. So I'm finna say it again. Auntie chose to put my lighter cousin in charge. How can I kick him off the land? If we both tie back to the same woman that has the same rights and she chose, forget the reason why she chose. Forget why. That doesn't even matter. Let's address to the point she chose Him. She wasn't forced to. On her own will, she chose him. Forget what she was promised. How do you remove him? He ties back into the
So
tribe.
so Golden Moon. So Golden Moon answers a question. What if we find our tribe, but they don't look like us, nor are they accepting the roles? What if you tie back in your tribe and they do? See, here's the thing. This is the thing that people always ask in business. What if my business doesn't succeed? What if it does? If you don't try, you'll never know. Has anybody? When was the last time somebody tried to get into their tribe and they got denied? 9 times out of 10, there's going to be a declination letter saying that you don't get back into this tribe, and they'll tell you why. Has
Hmm.
anybody received a declination letter from a tribe?
Have you even took the time to send it to them? See, we have to stop this. And then what the Codex say, as descendants of the indigenous people, meaning us, now must unite in or not in a tribe, make a stand, cause they know who we are, and so do they. Cause and so do they. I don't see what the big issue is. It's like this, the Codex. This individualism is what got us jammed up now. You understand? Trying to be an individual, trying to break away from our ancestors, turning our back on them is what got us in this mess. See, y'all keep saying we've
Okay,
been here
you were here
before
before
any
any
mention of
mention of
any creation
any
of
creation
tribes.
of
That's
tribes.
wrong. That's false. We have to stop spreading this falseness. Tribes has been on this planet since the creation of man. So let's stop. What is a tribe? A tribe is a collection of people normally that are family. So we must stop this. You know what I'm saying? We have to stop changing words and narratives to fit our emotions. That there is
Well,
a
at
way
least prove
out
what
of
you're
this.
saying. At least prove what you're saying.
There is a way
Tell,
out of this, but you got to know who you are. Yeah, and like Jay
Jay's
said, our
one,
cousins kicked our ass, and now they treating us like shit. Facts.
and some of them are treating us like that. Not all of them.
Not
Not
all
all of
of
them.
them. Yeah, we got to stop doing that too. Because if that's the case, if we're gonna paint all of them with a broad brush, then stop complaining when somebody paints us with one. If you want to be treated off of your actions and how you treat people, then start treating others the same way. If not, just be quiet and take a seat at the back of the room. There's no way around this. I'm finna say it again, quoting Rocky for a soundtrack. There's no easy way out. There's no shortcut home. See, here we go again, pointing out who owns the land, this and that. Those are all scapegoats from the real work. The real work is this. You want to know who owns the land? Do your genealogy. That's the only way you're going to find out. Teammates, hasn't it been like, what, 6, 7 months ago when you helped me with mine? That's how I found out
Hmm.
that my family sued Alabama to get the land back through court
Hmm.
records. So if I don't do my genealogy,
Hmm.
do I ever know this?
Nope.
That's what I'm saying.
At the end of the day, at the end of the day, how we do this on the Consciousness Assembly, we and we love your questions, and we love your retorts. And please don't take what we're saying as being
Oh,
negative
please
or
don't. Yes, yes,
we're
all
trying
are
to solve a
welcome.
problem or trying to cause static. Because no, we appreciate it. And Dakota X, we appreciate you coming on and making your statements because I'm sure there's some people that feel the same way. But at the end of the day, and anybody that know me will always hear what I got to say about this. I don't entertain conjecture.
No.
I need some documentation. You need to prove to me what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna say something, bring some documentation, bring some proof. Don't just bring words. Bring something to back it up. And I'm not saying you can't bring it. So please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna make a statement, bring something that's supporting your statement. Don't just throw something out there because at the end of the day, it doesn't hold any weight.
And that's how we got
As
in
a
here
business
before.
owner, I just can't make a claim to something without any documentation. Period, point blank in the discussion. There is no magic formula. There is no magic word. There is no magic kumbaya statement that's going to make us click. This is not end game. This is not Infinity Wars where somebody's going to snap a finger and stuff is going to go back to where it's supposed to be.
No.
We need to wake up.
What are we scared to work? Huh? Y'all so scared of white folks that we not gonna work? Just like people say, oh, I found my tribe and they don't look like me. Then you go there. You know why you go to that tribe? You go to that tribe and you help as many more melanated Indians get back in. Because guess what happens now? It's a paradigm shift. Now, when it comes time to vote councils in and councils vote chiefs in, now you have your own sitting in there. That's how you take it back. The only reason they got our stuff from us because we stopped playing. Then we read in the South that we decided not to even deal with them. That we got to the point to where we ain't selling you no land. We ain't gonna deal with the issue of you being here. We just gonna take our white women, keep our slaves, and do what we want to do. I mean, there's a
Okay,
point
I'm
in
sending
time to
my
where we gotta
email to
face,
you right now.
we gotta face the truth.
And the truth is, we can argue who owned the land first. We can argue that point. Who owns it now?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you tie into who owns it now?
How?
Because at the end of the day, you can give me all the conjectures you want. Like for instance, because here's the thing. Again, I appreciate my brothers and sisters who know the law. I do appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do. But I ain't seen that nan record a document where you done went into somebody court and kicked they behind. Not nan. Am I saying it don't exist? I'm not saying it don't exist. I'm saying I ain't seen it.
Mm-hmm. On the Codex, no, I wasn't talking to you directly when I said being emotional or being an individual.
And
That's
there
what we
is no
suffer
such
as a
thing as
whole.
there's no such thing as complete unity. That is
That never existed.
dude. There were tribes were warring before the Europeans got here.
They got here and we was fighting each other.
There is no such thing as complete unity.
That would never happen. Waiting on that. Listen, I'm finna make it simple so we all can get it. Nobody agrees. Let's get this correct. No one agrees. We happen to share particular moral values that allow us to see certain subjects eye to eye. But nobody agrees because we all come from different walks of life. We share certain stories to where certain paths might be similar or the same, but we're all different. So it's impossible for us to be united like that. Now, what we can do, we can agree. We have a greater problem. Let's fix the greater problem, but we're always going to have our differences. We're always going to have things that we're fighting over. That's life.
Well, Golden Moon, the South America was able to gain their blueprint back because they never got out of the government. They stayed in the government. They
Yeah,
they took the government back.
they
That's
fought.
how they. There's lots of videos that talk about how they did it.
All we got to do is remember Mandela. Remember all the speakers of South Africa. Remember all the presidents of South Africa. Them people been fighting back against the British, pushing back since they've been there. They never did the deals with them that our ancestors did.
Jay Sasquatch says, "Them nice whites are the
Are the
ones
ones that
that
got
got
they
their ass kicked
kick with
before.
us, they can
They
just
just
hide
they
better.
just hide better."
Facts. Facts. Because
And
even as you
and,
read,
and,
you had
and
Europeans that were siding with Indians. Crazy.
and here's the thing. Here's the thing that y'all gotta know. And anybody that knows us knows this. There's only so much we gonna be able to tell you
That's it.
online.
That's it.
There's only so much we gonna be able to tell you online. You don't get anything done in business or otherwise without leverage.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll leave it at that. You find your tribe, we'll help your tribe. I keep
That's it.
saying that.
We keep telling you.
If you find your
Test
tribe,
us.
we'll help your tribe.
That's what Autonomous Assembly is here for. Uplifting the American Indian voices and helping the American Indian and its tribe become self sufficient. That is our mission statement. That's what we're here for.
Jay said F all that. Hey, I respect your position, Jay. I respect your position. At the end of the day, I know what I'm trying to do. I know what we're doing. Yes, we got to get to work. We got to get to work. But at the end of the day, here's the thing: we cannot expect a piece of paper that's going to make somebody move off this land when they already got their genealogy. Just because we state that we were here first, you got to prove it. You're not going to be able to move a whole nation off this continent just by saying we were here first. That
I
ain't
got
going
a
to fly
question.
nowhere.
I got a question. This is for everybody listening. Question or scenario, however you want to do it. Check this out. You're a Seneca Indian, right? Okay. You want to write a petition to get your land back because it was taken, right? But your Seneca chief did a deal with the U.S. government, right? Your Seneca chief did a deal with the U.S. government and sold this land to this particular family. Now, just because you're a Seneca Indian, do you have the right to go take that land? Your chief, whether you like it or not, sold it to someone else. Do you think you can take it back? I'll wait. Because that's what I keep saying, that the elephant is in the room. That we must put the emotions aside so we can see this.
The codex. The real problem isn't the agreement of you and finding taking back over the landscape. The problem is finding people finding out who their tribes are. There are over 500 tribes that are state recognized, but no one is talking to any of these tribes. Well, I'm not that no one is a not a correct statement. Very few of us are talking to
Or
these
one to
tribes,
go talk
and
to the
and many of
tribes.
us and many of us are assuming that all of them are Mongoloid related, and they're not.
Nope. But
So
if you,
instead of actually going out there and talking to these tribes, and I'm gonna call it like it is, being scared and don't want to say nothing to nobody because you might find out something that you don't want to know, it's a lot easier and it's a punk move to go start your own tribe. I'm gonna say it. Yeah, I said it. It's a punk move to go start your own tribe. But at the end of the day, all this land has already been spoken for. So if the land
mm-hmm,
has already been spoken for, you go purchase some commercial real estate, you put it in a trust, violate antitrust laws, mind you. Then somebody comes and find out and do their research that this is my land. You got to go, and you might
mm-hmm,
get locked up for theft
facts.
for buying stolen property.
Antitrust laws, look them up, y'all. Please do. Documentary on that coming soon to make it easier for most. And all this taking the land back, I'm finna say it again. If your chief sold land to the U.S. government, to the colonists, how can you take it back? Listen to what I'm saying again. He said, why haven't the tribes come looking for us?
Have you
Kodaks,
been watching the videos?
have you been watching?
Have you been watching some of the YouTube videos?
Why would they? When platforms are taking extremist moves, when platforms are sitting here dogging and talking about tribal history that they have no idea about because they never got up off their sorry behind from away from a keyboard and went on a tribal land and sat down and talked with anybody. And let me tell y'all something else. You can contact the majority of the reservations where tribes at and schedule a visit. And we can't say that we didn't make mistakes. We are responsible for this. The mistake falls on us as well. We have to stop putting the blame to somebody else because once you put the blame, the reason why you're in these conditions means it's crazy. You're
They
giving
find
power to
they
somebody
find
else. They said that's your chief. But that's what
right.
happened. That if you actually take the time out and do the research, read these tribal records, talk to your tribal elders, learn your tribal history, you will start to realize that a lot of this damage was done by the tribes. No, see, y'all keep saying the chiefs might be under duress. No. When it's we have to stop making excuses. These chiefs sent for these people to come. Joseph Brant, in his history, he said that he liked the Europeans. He wanted to be like, this is a half mixed Indian who wanted to be with them, who wanted to live with them. Sent invitations for them to come open up schools to teach Indians how to be better Europeans. Nobody put no gun to this man's head. They told this man, remove
So here's what
Indians,
I
we're going to give you liquor and guns to keep doing it. And he did it.
so here's the thing. You know how you find out for sure whether these chiefs were under duress. Find your tribe and talk to your tribe. They'll tell you.
That's it. Stop the speculation. Find your tribe. Who else can tell you about your tribe history better than your tribe? See, we got to be willing to do the work. Just say who
So you
wants
said
to
who
read?
wants to
Come
read?
on,
Come
man.
on.
He hit it right on the head. That'd be the problem.
Go to Moon says, "Hey TMH, it looks like I might be in three different tribes, but I know one I will visit. I have no problem." And at the end of the day, that's all you can do. And again, we're here to help. We're not
Mm-hmm.
saying you're by yourself, but
No.
we can't help you if we don't know where you're at. At the end of the day, so I mean, again, we got to do the work. All of us got work to do. But what I'm saying is, I'm not about speculation. I'm not about what could have happened. All I
Mm-mm.
know is what is now. What
Mm-hmm.
could have happened is immaterial to me
Yep.
because at the end of the day, this is what I know. I know that the the people in power, they know their genealogy,
And a lot of them tied
and it's
back into
public
tribes.
information, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of them tie back into tribes. I know I tie into a tribe, but that don't mean nothing if majority of my people don't. So I'm helping them
Facts.
tie back into their tribe.
And like
Because
Golden
we can't
Moon.
do nothing until people tie back into their tribes. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing I find interesting. If you know that there are over 500 tribes that exist, and they already are on their land.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, let me explain something
Break it
to you.
down for them. Chick, chicka, chicka, chicka.
The tribes that are state recognized, and I dare somebody to come at me and battle me on this. I dare you.
Bring it on.
State tribes are state recognized. They have 501c entities.
Yep.
So that means they have their charters, they have everything listed. That means their land is already recognized.
Yep.
Do realize you can get charters once
Yep.
you're a part of a tribe. You do
Yep.
realize that you can claim land in other states once you're part of a tribe.
Part of a
You do
tribe.
realize that, don't you?
No, they don't. Because that's the
You
thing.
do
People
know
are
that
just talking.
because they are 501c. See, this is my department.
Repitan.
This is my department.
Break it down for him one
And
more
I
time,
dare
brother
somebody,
Thomas. Please, one more
to
time.
come talk to me about my
Let me get
department.
that. Let me get that again, please, sir.
You can have charters, just like Europe had charters, just like other companies have charters and other companies.
No, the Codex, you can't start a new tribe. And let me break it down why you cannot, why that's dangerous. First of all, these tribes that we tie back into, they already have relations with foreign nations. That's why you got to do the research. Tribes been dealing with foreign nations being recognized longer than most of you think. Secondly, you're trying to start something brand new with no relations with no foreign nation, no resources, no nothing. You're just gonna start a whole new tribe on some land all of a sudden. When you already have tribes that's here already, like TMA said, the land has already been broken up, divvied up, given out to who's gonna get what. So how you're gonna start a tribe on this country, put it on some land with who backing, who support? I really want to know what nation is backing you. U.S. be like you. We can put a trade embargo. You can't get no goods in the middle of U.S. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Let's get out of Hollywood and start being
Who
realistic.
you have diplomat? Who do you have diplomatic relationships with? Because what you're doing is you're creating a nation that has no ties to any other nation, which basically is an act of war against the nation that you are part of. So by pulling out of said nation, you are declaring an act of war on that nation and their allies. Don't believe me? Look it up. For those that claim they know law, don't believe me? Look it up. The moment you pull away from it, think about this: when the Revolutionary War took place, and the Southern states seceded from the Union,
What
at the
happened?
same time, they wanted to sign treaties with France, Spain, and Europe.
Yep.
Why? Because they had to establish treaties with these countries that the Union had already established treaties with. So if you're going to do something and you're going to separate from the United States, I don't care how you label it, corporation or whatever, when you separate, you're separating from all their allies. So now you are by definition committing an act of war, not only against the United States, but
But
against
they're
all these
allies.
countries they have treaties with.
And what is a treaty? A contract. It's a business negotiation. Let's keep it 100. We're saying treaties, but what it really is, it's a contract. It's a business negotiation. It's commerce.
He says, what happened if you're about five, six different tribes? Some of them have been fighting among themselves, and they still to this day don't get along. Let me ask you a question. Have you talked to any of these tribes that you're a part of?
Are you speculating?
Because you give me a bunch of speculation. Give me an instance where you tied into a tribe and you tied to five or six tribes.
Because I
Let
can
me
tell
know
you
what
this
tribes you're
much.
tied to, and then we can talk.
I can tell you this much. You can find 5 to 6 tribes in your history. But guess what?
Oh yeah, you will.
Yeah, you get to pick and choose, and most of them they let you get up to two is the most that you can claim back to. So still, just because you find all these different tribes, it's still up to you to choose which ones you want to be a part of. But the only way you're gonna know that is to do your homework.
Jay says, "Wow, now why are all those immigrants coming in? You talking about now, Jay, or later?"
Yes, everything has a starting point, Nicodax, but think about it. When you do wrong and you make a mistake, is fixing that mistake considered brushing it under the rug and starting over, or fixing your errors and correcting it? See, it seems to me that we want to take the coward's way out. Instead of facing the wrongs, the sins of our forefathers, we want to wipe out the slate brand new. That's not going to work for us. We have a responsibility. See, everybody want to get their piece of happiness now. Pathetic. I'm going to say it again. Too many of us want a piece of happiness now. That's pathetic. We ain't here for ourselves. We are here for 7 generations for now. Meaning, if I must lose everything that I have possessed in my lifetime to secure the future for 7 generations, let's go. Let's go.
I'm with that. I'm with that. I ain't got shit to lose. Ain't nothing on
Because
my
it
name.
sounds like to me the biggest problem we have in our community, afraid of change. People done got comfortable and y'all keep hollering pale face, colonizers, but guess what? A lot of y'all work for these people and collect your check every week, no problem. A lot of you run to their stores buying these goods, but had the nerve to be like, oh, I can't stand the pale face. A lot of y'all running out here supporting the things that they sell in our neighborhood, but you hollering send them home. How you gonna send them home when you giving them the money to stay and move your ass out? Excuse my language. Come on. Think about it. I'm finna make it even simpler. If Bush know he ties back into a tribe through Joseph Brant, you have no idea who you tie back into. Who can get removed again? You're missing the whole point again, Codex. It's not about acceptance. It's about you finding out that tribe, tying back into them tribes. Stop asking what the tribe can do for you. When are we gonna
What
go
can
to these tribes and see what we can do
what
for
can you do for your
them?
tribe?
What can you do
What
to
can you
help
do for your
them?
tribe?
Come on, what are we, a bunch of beggars? How are we gonna say we these great mound builders, the great pyramid builders, but we walking around trying to collect something instead of giving something back to our ancestors? Because obviously, let me tell you something. If we got ancestors that been on these reservations for hundreds and hundreds of years, who left and who didn't? Let's
I
think
know my
about it again.
ancestors left. I know my ancestors left because I'm up here in Virginia. My ancestors came from Caswell County and Wayne County. Caswell on my father's side and Wayne on my mother's side. So that means my family left.
So before we start pointing these fingers, let's find out who our family is so we can have a better idea of what part of this madness we played in.
Facts. I mean, it's about acceptance. And at the end of the day, everybody has the right to do what they want to do. And I'm not knocking anything that you do. All I'm saying is, if you're going to come to me with something, don't give me no ifs, ands, or conjectures. Give me some facts. Show me one time in history, or show me one person that has wrote up a document and was able to kick some people off their land. I don't
I'm
know. You
waiting.
see, here's a great thing about what's being proposed. You only have to find one instance to be right.
That's
You
it.
only need
One.
one. You don't need 5 million. You just need one. And I'm not saying that it don't exist.
We just
See,
saying we have
see,
never
that's the
seen
beautiful
it
thing about
applied.
communication.
We never
Exactly.
we never
I'm
seen it
not saying it
applied.
don't exist. If you find it, phenomenal, great. But I haven't seen it. So to me, it doesn't mean anything because it doesn't exist, and that's not the direction I'm going anyway. The direction I'm going is the direction I know that works. There are already tribes here. There are already tribes that need our help. We have all of us have a special skill set that we can continue we can contribute to that tribe to help that tribe be self-sustaining. Once you help the tribe become self-sustaining, now you can become more involved in the politics, and you can start taking your land back. You can't take your land back if you don't know if you don't have land to start with. How you going to accumulate more land?
Think about it. That land that you trying to claim could belong to us. So I'm supposed to let you because you didn't want to do the work and I did the work, found my tribe, we found our land. You didn't do the work, but I'm supposed to let you I'm supposed to allow you to claim the land that belongs to my family. But I did the work and it's legally belonging to my family. Man, if you don't get out my face with that, you yourself wouldn't accept that. How we gonna ask people to go for things that we not even gonna go for ourselves?
That's right, David. As soon as you point the finger, there's three pointing back. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, we are not giving the Europeans a pass. So please
No.
don't make it sound like that.
No.
But at the end of the day, this is what I can tell you from what I know. The tribe that I'm a part of went and got them white women and brought them back here. I know that much.
Well, you gotta
They
keep
were they
reminding
were
me.
they were they were working with the Vikings. They were working with the Greeks. They were taking these women back because the Vikings and nothing in the trade. We had all the metal, we had all the gold, we had all the jade. So my ancestors on their boats went over there and came back and brought these white women. That much I do know.
So all y'all Supani out there, we got some work to do. We got some fixing to do.
So that much I do know. So because of that, now I have to start where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
That much I know. So I can't sit here and act like my ancestors were totally innocent. No, they were totally guilty.
Mm-hmm.
They were traitors and they were traitors.
Make no mistake about it.
So we got to fix it.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
That's what we got to fix.
We sit here every day talk about a set of traders that we tie back to. Think about it. But we're willing to accept the wrongs that was done, admit that it was wrong, and do our part now to fix it moving forward.
The Codex. Here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say. And it boils down to this. I wish you well in your journeys and what you're doing. All I gotta say is prove me wrong. You only have to be right once to prove me wrong. That's it. And I hope you're right,
We'll put it like this,
because at the end of the day,
Codex.
I have no malice at the end of the day. But I don't. But here's one thing I don't do. I don't do conjecture. I don't do BS, and I call it like I see it. I don't do what if. What if didn't get me to where I'm at? Facts and information got me to where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
So you can hit me with all these what ifs and all these theories. I don't do theories, bro. I was a system engineer for over 15 years. I don't do theories. I do actual facts. And the actual fact of the matter is that I know who my tribe is. I know what my tribe did. I know what role they play. And my goal now is to help other people tie back into their tribes and help their tribes. So all this resources, this and what if that's all fine and dandy. All of it's fine and dandy. At the end of the day, you only have to be right once to prove what you're saying is right. You don't have to go do a whole lot of research. All you have to do is find one instance and somebody claiming land that doesn't belong to them,
And
that
got
was
it.
stolen from a tribe, got it, and kick somebody off of it. That's all you have to do.
Just show me once.
So at the end of the day, and this is not to be disrespectful, so please don't take it this way. Until
Yeah.
you can show me that, there is no need for us to have a conversation on that.
Yeah.
Period,
On
point
that
blank in
subject
discussion. There
there.
was no need for us to talk about it because you're not bringing me any facts. See, I can hit you upside the head all day long with constitutions and bylaws. I
Yeah.
can I can rip anybody to shreds on that because that's what I do.
And
I can point you to the NFL's constitution.
break them
Go look
down,
at that, then
y'all.
come back and have a conversation. Come have a conversation with me about the Constitution. If you want to go to battle about something I know, go pull up the NFL's Constitution, 292 pages, and we can build on that.
Yeah. We can
Start
show you how
there.
this works. And not only are we telling you, isn't the Continental Assembly a non-profit organization?
Yeah, it is.
Thought we
Aren't,
were.
Aren't we doing the same thing that we're sitting here on this panel and we tell everybody that you can do? We're actually
I
doing it.
believe we are.
You can look up a Autonomous Assembly. Go to Georgia.biz. We're there. We are there. And
So
going
convincing
back,
everyone that people need. Hold on, he says so convincing everyone the people need and should own their own land and landscape. Who in the F came up with that in the first place?
listen, that's not what we're saying. Convince people. No. What we're trying to tell you is this. And I'm finna use a real thing that played out. There's a couple of us that's in this chat that through genealogy, we found family land. Like Golden Moon, myself, Pamela Hall, and there's a lot of us. So what I'm saying is this, you keep saying about no natural resources. A lot of us own land that has natural resources through genealogy. Our family made claims and got it back. See, we have to stop saying what doesn't happen if you're not doing it yourself. He say, she say, got a graveyard full of people. What's so hard about facing the truth instead of just trying to make excuses so you can sleep better at night?
All I'm asking, and all I'm going to continue to ask, because the people know me. I already told you. I already told you where I'm at. If you want to have a conversation on bylaws and constitution, let's go. Let's go pull up the NFL's constitution, 292 pages. I can give you a lesson on constitution and bylaws. We can break that
Simple.
down.
Look at it this
So
way.
now,
Can't,
well, hold on.
mhm.
So with that said, give me something that I can look at from what you're saying. Give me something that I can look at. Give me a link. Give me some documentation that I can look at and chew on so I can learn from. Don't give me conjecture. Give me some information. Give me something I can go look at. If you can't give me something I can go look at, why are we talking?
Mm-hmm. Look at it this way. Can't the
If you
NFL
can't give me
hire?
something I can go look at and go do some research on, why am I talking? Go ahead, Bones.
Don't the NFL hire rapists, murderers, people with gun charges? You have people in the NFL catching violent charges. Don't they still play for the NFL? Can't the
Yeah,
NFL
and then
court make a ruling that the Supreme Court cannot touch? The highest court of the land can't touch laws that the NFL passes on its players. Have anybody ever asked why that is? I remember TMH did this about a month ago. This is probably about our fourth time talking about this. But have anyone ever asked themselves why that is? That you can have an owner in the NFL get busted in a prostitution sting and walk around like ain't nothing happened. Do you think it's because of his skin color? That's what y'all think that happened?
Nah, no.
No, the Kodaks. You keep saying why. See, this is the thing I'm saying again. Instead of you taking responsibility for your own actions, you're trying to blame your tribe. That's a coward's way out, and I'm going to break it down even more. I just said again, our ancestors are the ones who left these tribes behind. Because we're the ones, if you look at our parents and their parents and their parents, they're the ones that was leaving these farmlands going running to the city for the so-called American dream. So who left again? I'ma ask, who left again? How you gonna sweep in front of somebody else's porch and your own porch dirty? Oh, there's no problem. That's what we here for. And like TMA said, don't ever take what we say as anger or snapping. We just got love for our people, and we're tired of people taking advantage of our people. We're tired of our people being led astray and led being emotional. Because that's not going to get us anywhere.
because
Go ahead, TMH.
at the end of the day, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm not looking for anybody else to follow me because I really don't care. You do what you got to do. At the end of the day, I'm going to go get my people. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
into my community and I'm going to get my people. I'm going to educate my people.
Facts.
That's what I'm going to do. If you choose to do the same, I'll help you. If you don't choose to do the same, hey, more power to what you're doing. And as long as it's not violating or hurting anybody else,
We
I
cool.
wish you nothing but the best.
But if you cross our people,
Period. Point blank in the discussion. But if I find out that you hurt my people, now you got to deal with me.
Best believe that you will be held accountable. We let that be known from the first day walking in the door. It doesn't matter your relation to me. If you wrong our people, you are wrong.
And I don't expect anything less from anybody else. If y'all find out I'm doing something I ain't got no business, I
That's hurting the
expect y'all to
people.
come for me. I
Come for
expect
me.
it. I'm asking for it.
Facts.
I'm demanding it. Because nobody is above reproach. See, here's one of the biggest problems. We have been so used to allowing people with the same skin color of us have a pass. That's how we ended up in this mess. Everybody getting a pass. No more. Don't nobody get a pass. Everybody need to be checked at the door. I don't care who you are. Who can vouch for you? If can't
Mm-hmm.
nobody vouch for you, if your city can't vouch for you, if your county can't vouch for you, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not? If I can't go to your town in your city and walk around and be safe because I'm with you, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. And the Codex asks, you
You
said,
go,
Bones, if the case for the NFL, if that case for the NFL, if that's the case for the NFL, why would the tribes pick and choose who to allow back? The tribes are not picking and choosing who to allow back in. I don't know where y'all get that from. But we were stating on before, why should the tribes come from some of these for some of us? Look at the platforms that we hold that's very negative. These tribes cannot afford to get looked at as extremist groups. So basically, look at the selfishness what we saying. We want these tribes to risk their people, women and children that they have to provide for to come stand beside a bunch of YouTube people that want to be YouTube warriors, that want to be extremists. It doesn't matter why everybody, the different reasons why people left the Kodaks. If you look back in the 1800s, especially the 1900s, a lot of our people left under their own will.
Bones, if you could run that back, because it's been months, and I don't think a lot of people understood that about why tribes ain't coming, showing
Let me
up.
say this again. People keep crying, oh, why the tribes ain't coming out? Why they not stepping up? I'm finna say it again. Why should they? If you on a platform where, excuse my language, I'm only using this for context right now, where your crack of this, or in this, or kill them all, the hell with the babies, I don't care. You really think they're gonna come up? Because a lot of these tribes, they know their true history. So a lot of these tribes do know that right about now they're mixed races. A lot of these tribes know this. And they respected it because they chose it. But you have to
and at the
realize
end of the
who
day, we
created the
have a
hitmen.
choice too. We did.
Who created the hitmen?
We created the hitman.
Joseph
We
Brant
did.
tells you that the first hitmen were Indians, our own people. Who can get closer than you? If I'm warring with a European, how can a European get close to me? You stick out like a sore thumb. Whether it's nighttime or daytime, you ain't sneak up on nobody. So it takes somebody who look like me so my guard is let down. They already told you they were building relationships off of beer and liquor. See, the running off of our people, that didn't happen until the KKK like that. That's later on. See, we have to stop putting, we have to separate this history and put it in its right timeline.
At the end of the day, we just gonna have to agree to disagree on this part
That's it.
because I am under the impression that I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. First and foremost, I'm presenting you with information, and you can choose to do what you want to do. What I'm saying is this: if you're trying to go the direction that I'm going, and you trying to partner up with me, these are my terms of agreement. Period. Point blank in discussion. I'm not trying
That's
to
it.
convince anybody to do anything, and frankly, I don't care. Like I said, I'm willing to die for this.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank in discussion. Like I
So,
said, ain't nothing in my name. Come test me if you won't. That's not a threat. That's a promise. Because at the
mm-hmm.
end of the day, I know what my ancestor did, and I know what needs to be done. So I have no expectations of snapping a finger or bringing some piece of paper, and the Europeans gonna get off my land. Now I already
No.
know that's not happening. I know this is gonna take work. This is gonna take some serious work. This is gonna take getting off from in front of the computer and
Mm-hmm.
going out there and talking to tribes and building relations. This is going
Yeah,
to take helping people find their tribe. Again, I don't care if don't everybody can log off right now and not do anything with a conscious assembly. I'm still gonna keep
we
going
still gonna keep going. Autonomous assembly does
because
not
I'm not
need
doing this for
YouTube.
views.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing this for popularity.
Facts.
So
Autonomous
I
assembly
don't care
never
if
has to
don't
be on
nobody else
YouTube.
do this. I
Yep.
don't care if don't nobody else do this. I'm gonna say it again. I don't care if don't nobody else do this. I'm still gonna do it.
Till the
So I'm
wheels
not. I
fall
don't have to
off.
convince any. I don't have to convince anybody to do anything. Everybody has their own free will. I will
Facts.
help those that want to be helped, and for those that don't want to be helped, I wish you the
Wish
best.
you the best on your journey. No hate, no love lost. But just like our TMA said, autonomous assembly will and does exist without a YouTube channel. This is just an outlet to give exposure to the ones that's in the community that's doing the real work. No, but you have to look at this, the Codex. What you think is extremist, you have to look at these tribes. These tribes have government to government relationships. They cannot afford to be with a person that's on a channel talking about cracker and kill babies. To you, that might not be
They can't
extremist.
afford.
They
They
can't
can't.
afford to. Oh, go ahead, TMH. We keep
Right,
jumping in at the
because
same time.
they'll lose. Right, yeah, it's all good. They'll lose everything that they got. You're looking at it from your perspective. You're not looking at it from. You're not being objective. You're being subjective, and you're looking at it from your perspective. That's the way I see it.
Man,
I
tell it
could be
like it is.
wrong,
That's being selfish.
and
Call it what it is. That's selfishness. Because you worried about what you can get with no concern over what these tribes can lose by reaching out. They have government to government relations. They have allies. Do you know some of these tribes have open relationships with France? Some of them still have open relationships with Spain. Do you know these countries are allies with the US? So if you're on a platform, I'm finna say it again, you're on a platform and you're only talking about dark-skinned Indians, and you talking about anybody that's of a particular lightness must go, and the babies must die, the hell with them, kill them all. Think about it, let's be honest. We done been in these conversations before. A2 exists because of these
Facts.
conversations. So let's don't get here and play
Big
dumb.
old facts.
We created A2 for the separation, for the tribes to come out. See, y'all keep saying tribes don't come out, but guess what? Since A2's existence, how many tribes has we dealt with? How many tribes contacted us? So this baloney that the
And
tribes don't reach out is a bunch of malarkey. They don't reach out because you don't have what you're doing in the right format to protect them at the end of the day. All you care about is what you can get. Like we said before, A2 wants nothing from the Indian community. A2 wants nothing from the tribes. A2 exists to give to the Indian community. A2 is here to give to the tribes. And if you ain't giving, I don't hear you. Why should they come and introduce themselves? Think about it. Why should they?
here's a different perspective. When it comes to respect, when it comes to respect and honor, do you go visit your grandparents, or do you have your grandparents come visit you?
Hmm. What's the respectful thing to do? To have the elders come to you or to get off your butt and go to them?
mm, well, damn.
Come on now. That's what I mean, emotional, and we're blinding ourselves. Let's get back on code. Honor thy mother and thy father. Let's get back on code. Stop making excuses. I wish I would tell my grandmother to drive way down here to see me. No. Like David Corey said, the BIE list. Since 2008, the government has been monitoring all this BIE conversations online. This is a fact. They've been recording hangouts, back chats. Anybody that has a channel on YouTube and you've been talking this extremist stuff, you have been recorded.
Didn't we have a? Did we do a show on that?
Yes, we did a whole show on that. And to break back down
We spoke about it on a few other podcasts.
on these tribal panels, over this weekend, we did a great interview with an Aboriginal American Indian sister by the name of Danielle Jeffries. Isn't she at Virginia Tech about to sit on
He
the
says,
Indian Council
yes, yeah, yeah,
at
and
the age
we're
of
going to be
21,
in
right?
Xavier. Yeah, and we're
Eh,
going to be in Xavier reaching out to the Indian councils over there. Yeah.
So we have a 21-year-old. See, because I always hear people keep asking where the youth put the youth on. There's a 21-year-old, Daniel Jeffers, out here meeting with Indians while her elders are sitting on their behinds crying. Really? Our young Indian princess is sitting out here helping other American Indians get out of college debt free. So the crying must stop.
So here's the deal. Here's the deal, and this is where I see it. And
Life
correct
is
me
a
if I'm
two-way
wrong, the
street. That
Codex,
crybaby
because
stuff.
so the
Um,
Codex. Correct me if I'm wrong if I'm misunderstanding you, because I don't want to be putting words in your mouth that are not yours. From your perspective, you think they should reach out to us. From our perspective, we think we should reach out to them. So there is a difference of perspective. Neither one is wrong. But this is what I'm gonna say. I'm choosing to reach out to them. And if that's not what you choose to do, then that is your right, bro. That is your right. And I am not here to tell you what you should
I
or
shouldn't
what you
do.
should not do. I can only tell you what I can only tell you what I'm going to do. I can only show you what I'm going to do. I'm not sitting here questioning why you're not doing something.
That's what we telling you to do your genealogy. Think about it. The people on the tribe, what did they lose? They didn't lose anything because they stayed. Your parents and grandparents left the Kodaks. Think about it. Your parents do not live originally where their parents were born. Do your genealogy. Your people relocated someplace else. So who left again? Your people left. So your people left
My
their
people left.
grandparents. Your people left their elders in limbo. And you want the elders that's
We
left
do
in limbo to come talk to you. Man, wake up and
we
smell the
do have
roses.
we got new listeners all the time. Man, I don't think the Codex was here when we did shows about taking blame or what is it, accepting the blame
For what our
for what we
ancestors
did.
did.
Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah, at the end of the day, again,
you gotta check back
everybody
on some of the broadcasts we had.
right.
So
Everybody has a right to their own perspective because it's your perspective. So your perspective is right for you.
For
Your
you.
perspective just isn't right for us.
No. No, because see, the shows are labeled entitled. See, if you come to the shows, every show has a name on what it's about. It's in the title and it tells you. Maybe you just coming back around and just starting to see. Everything on there is labeled entitled on what it deals with. And everything that we present, we do every show with sources and resources so you can read it on your own. Yes, we might read it to you, but we're giving it to you. And the feel thing, see, there we go again with them feelings. We got to get them feelings out of there. Yes, there's strength in numbers, but wouldn't the numbers benefit if you're aligning yourself with the tribes, the ones that already have land, the ones that your family belongs to already, instead of you trying to start something brand new?
And so if I may, I would like to correct something. There's strength in the right numbers
Facts.
because with the wrong numbers, there's division.
Yep.
So just because you got a bunch of numbers like the Iroquois had, they had a bunch of numbers, but those numbers were divided. So where was their strength?
And they
They
use
were
them numbers
split three
against
different.
Indians.
Right. They were split three different ways. So the fact that there's strength in numbers, you right, but it's got to be the right numbers.
Yep.
You could get more accomplished with 5 people heading in the right direction than you will ever get with 50 people heading in the wrong direction or
Facts.
opposite direction. So there is no strength in those numbers. You
Nope.
got 50 people doing 50 different things. Where if you got 5 people heading down the same road doing the same thing, that's where the power lies.
Bing,
So
bingo.
there's only strength in numbers if there's an agreement and people are basically working together and there's you're not letting in no foolery at the end of the day. Because if I let somebody in that's going to hurt me and my family, then yeah, there's one more number, but that number has come to destroy. So at the end of the day, I would again, like I said, I would rather work with what we got right now than to let somebody that has no intention on doing the right thing in. That's just me.
And David Corey said it better than I could have thought it up. Stop looking for numbers. Stand on your own. That's how you came here alone. Always looking for somebody to do the work that the individual needs to do for himself. Ain't that's how we got in this mess? Letting somebody else tell us who we are instead of us taking the time out to learn for ourselves who we are?
If you don't know what that individual work is, email us at simply@gmail.com.
And we'll help you. Like you said, like we always say, we are here to help. Listen, see the Kodaks. That's why if you go back and you see what we do, a lot of us are tied into our tribe, so we know our tribal history. And we taking the tribal history along with the documented history, and we're showing how it lines up. We did the Tuscarora Wars. We didn't speak on it just to be speaking on it. We have a descendant of the Tuscarora Indians, which is Copper Indio, who's tied into his tribe that can
Peace, Copper.
give you history to let you know what they got written down in record ties into tribal history. See, I never sit here, nobody ever sits here to be like we know exactly what happened. See, at no time, there's no episode you'll ever see no one from this platform state that. All we ever do is provide the information, provide it in context, and tell you, do your genealogy, check these dates, find out who ties into who. Some of these stories we've been reading, people have been finding their relatives that they found in genealogy through these same stories we reading. Excuses must
That's
stop.
facts.
The excuses must stop. Because the Codex, you asked us a million and one questions this rise, and I had no problem with it. I have one for you. Have you did your genealogy? Where you live? Do people at your job know you're Indian? Do your family know you're Indian? Do your neighbors know you're Indian? When you get up from your rising and step out, do you stretch and be glad that you're Indian and wear it on your sleeves? See, before you ask others questions, these are the questions we must ask ourselves. Before we come out and start this, we have to answer some things for ourselves. See, there you go again. That is the problem. I'm gonna leave it alone from there.
The Codex, bro. At the end of the day, this is all I can tell you. I appreciate your questions. I admire your inquiry, but I think we've answered pretty much all of your questions. And if not, I would dare say we've answered at least 50% of them. So here's what I'm going to suggest to you. Present me some information that's going to allow me to understand where you're going, so we can have a conversation. Because right now, all you're doing is asking questions, and you're not providing any solutions,
No,
and you're not providing any solutions with anything that I could do today to get started. That's going to point me on my tribe in the right direction.
no.
So until you do that, I'm not going to be answering any more questions at the end of the day, because I think, and it's on record that I've answered your questions, and I've
Mm-hmm.
told you where to go when it comes to my position on constitutions, and when it comes to my position on bylaws.
Yep.
So I've given you something that you can chew on and you can go digest. You haven't given me anything unless I've missed it. If so, I apologize. But as of right now, all you've given me are questions. You haven't given me any answers, and you haven't given me anything that I can look at. So
Mm-hmm.
until you can do that, there is no need for us to have this conversation, because it's one sided. You're
That's it.
questioning me,
Mm-hmm.
but you haven't answered any questions.
My question's still floating out there. Do where you reside at? Do your neighborhood know that you're Indian? Because if not, you got some personal work to do. See, before we go pointing the fingers, judging others and what others' platforms do and what they're around for, stand in the mirror and get yourself right first. On to this assembly where the real work gets done. 24/7, 365.
Hmm.
If you
That's
don't
just
know,
it. Again,
look us up.
we definitely appreciate the questions. But here's one thing I'm going to always tell you: I will entertain your questions up to a certain point. But if you're not providing me what your where you're going and what your agenda is, and you're not providing me that information, then I can only make an assumption based off the fact that you're not answering questions, that you have no intentions on giving me an agenda. You're just here
Yeah.
to distract.
Distract and stall tactics.
So again, I don't have a problem with answering questions. But if I'm going to answer some questions, I would like some of my questions answered. I mean, that's only fair.
Y'all know how I stand. I
I'm
ain't
gonna
with
I'm gonna
that.
tell you where to go to get the information.
Yeah, you can't ask me 7 questions 8 different ways. You already know what I was going to say. You can't ask the question 7 times 8 different ways. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, this ain't again. I'm not a YouTuber.
Nope,
You
me
know,
neither.
I don't do debates.
Nope.
Okay, I do negotiations.
Bingo. They don't
I
get it.
negotiate business
Deals,
deals.
business
So I
deals.
look so I look at so I look at things a little bit differently. And when you
Mm-hmm.
negotiate business deals, and when you negotiate, it's a give and take. So I
Yep.
will I will entertain questions, but when I got questions that need to be answered, then you got to come with it. Because at the end of the day, if you're the only one asking questions, then apparently there is an agenda
Yep.
to those questions. And if you can't tell me what your agenda is, and you can't give me anything of where you're going, that's problematic to me.
Yep.
Because now you're forcing me, and a lot of people understand, you are now forcing me to make an assumption. And I
Yep.
don't like to assume.
Me neither.
So if you're going to force me to make an assumption by answering my questions, then I, being who I am, knowing my tribe, I am going to assume the worst.
Yep.
And I promise you really don't want me to assume the worst. So as
Zero to
an olive
60.
branch and a warning. So as an olive branch and a warning, if you're going to come on a conscious assembly asking a bunch of questions and you do not feel like it's necessary for you to state your
This
agenda
is for
or where
everybody.
you stand, that's going to be a problem. I'm going to look at you as a problem, and then I'm going to start dealing with you as a problem.
Even the chat gonna look at you like a problem. Read
That's true.
it.
Exactly. But
I
Because
mean,
at the end of the day, you asking me questions, and anybody that know me know I will entertain a lot of questions. But when I start asking them, I need some answers. What is your agenda? Where are you trying to go, and what you trying to do?
I'm
listen.
indigenous and
When you
everyone
do,
knows that.
that's your
We
choice.
got,
When you do the
we got,
census, we're not. Listen. This is where we have to get this very clear. We're not here to impose anything on anybody. You have a choice. We're here every rising for the ones who want help, who's trying to better their situation, who's trying to uplift their communities and neighborhoods, who's trying to help the situation of their tribes. And like Golden Moon said, I'm sorry, maybe that's the problem. Maybe we don't give you the feel good, everything's gonna be alright, kumbaya, hold your hand message. Cause me, first of all, I can't do that. I'm not gonna lie to my people. That's why we're in this situation now. Too many people don't have the heart to address the elephant in the room. You understand? You rather walk around, know that there's something wrong, but we're gonna throw dirt on that and deal with this. So we saying again, if you're,
And I understand that you're. Now go ahead, Bones.
oh,
Finish.
I was just saying, if your end game isn't our end game, why even show up to ask questions?
And also too, I will address the unity. I will only unite with people that I know and that can be vouched for. I'm not united with any and everybody because of how they look. So when you say your agenda is unity, who are you uniting with? Who are they? Who are their ancestors? What's their lineage? Where are they from? What's their background? What's their agenda? What's their profession? Where are they from? Are they part of the community? Can the community vouch for them? Can
Mm-hmm.
anybody vouch for them? Will you vouch for them? Will you financially vouch for them? Will you personally vouch for them? And if the answer to those questions are I don't know or no, then
I don't
you
know
just told
you,
me everything I
man.
need to know. You look into you basically telling me you looking to unite with anybody that look like you, which basically means you are neutral. And we've already seen that somebody that's neutral
Get the hell
will
away
know that
from me.
somebody's trying to screw me over and won't say anything.
Get away from
And
me.
that's problematic. Because here's one thing I will promise anybody, and anybody know this about me. So this is nothing that's new. I don't do people that are neutral.
No.
I don't mess with people that are neutral.
No.
I don't do it in business,
No.
and I never did it where I was from. You pick a side.
Yeah, and neutral. Think about it. When
And
you pick
whatever side
neutral,
you want that's opposite of mine, go ahead, boss.
no, I was gonna add in neutral is picking a side. What people don't realize, you watch somebody do something wrong to me, and you don't do nothing. You just made your choice. You sided with them because you did nothing and they were wrong.
Yeah, there's an injured
Right.
party.
You
You're
get what I'm
siding
saying?
without. You're
There's
not
no
siding
such
with the
thing as
injured party at
neutral.
all.
We gotta stop
What
this
kind of moral?
baloney.
You got to have morals with that.
Yeah, there's no such thing as neutral.
It,
Ain't a car in neutral? Can it still roll forward or backwards? So what? So what is neutral really?
Hmm.
Neutral is somebody
Typically,
scared to pick sides because they want to be liked by everybody, end up being liked by nobody
Man, don't
when there's
nobody
a
gotta
time of
like
war and
me.
conflict.
As long as I know 7 generations
No,
from
but
now
I'm
the
just
American Indian is good, hate me. You can hate me now. Let me stop. Man up.
again, again. At the end of the day, Codex, I haven't heard your solution. So you said you present a solution. I haven't heard one. I haven't seen one. What is your solution? Unity is not a solution.
It's a
Unity is
fairy
a
tale.
statement.
Yeah, fairy tale. Signing petitions and
You and the question
declarations
that
isn't a
because I
solution.
asked you, and again, right, and I asked you, who are you uniting with? What's their agenda? Where are they from? Are they part of a tribe? Does that tribe conflict with my tribe? Are they looking to become sovereign citizens? Are they trying to get on the BIE list? What are their intentions? When you say unity, who are you uniting with? Because I understand the word unity. I
Mm-hmm.
understand, but the question is, who are you uniting with, and who
Mm-hmm.
are they?
Facts.
Because we've already shown that Indians were uniting. They were in the unity too. They were in the
Mm-hmm.
unity with the Europeans. They
French,
were in unity with the French.
Spanish,
They were in unity with the Spanish. So they were
Chinese,
in unity.
Russian,
And what did that
Germans.
unity get us? What did that unity get us? So the question is not about the unity, it's who you uniting with. And I'll wait
Facts.
for that answer if you choose to give it. But if you don't choose to give it again, that's let me know that there is really no real agenda. Because
See,
Unity.
those are questions that going to get asked.
See, A2, we have a solution. Help you with your genealogy. Help you tie back into your tribe. Help you and your tribe become self sufficient through resources and contracts that this leverage and position that we have of being a non-profit organization we gain. You need to know anything else? We'll set
Mm,
up a conference. Now let me stop.
big facts. No, that's facts though. Well, untouchablesAssembly@gmail.com.
Yeah. I mean, look us up on the website. What we are and what we do is there. We're not taken from the American Indian to help the American Indian. No, we're going out here getting our resources back from everybody else and giving it to the American Indian. So when we stand here and what we're talking about, we're not talking from speculation. This is what we do 7 days a week, 365.
No.
So again, at the end of the day, I'm gonna ask you the question that ain't nobody gonna ask you that everybody else is scared to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Who you represent? Who can vouch for you? Can people in your community vouch for you? And that's anybody. This is not directed at you, the
Yeah.
Codex. So please don't take it that way. I'm making a general statement. Who are you? Who's your people? Who can vouch for you? What are you doing in the community? And what's your plans?
Mm-hmm.
Before we go anywhere else, those are things I need to know. And
Really?
if that bothers some people, my apologies. But you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to deal with me. and that's the
Don't.
beautiful thing about what we do. I
Mm-hmm.
am not going to get upset with you because you choose not to deal with me. That's your right. But this is one thing.
Yeah.
If you gonna know anything else about me, you gonna know this. You gonna get questioned. You gonna get tested. And if you got a problem with being tested, stay away
Don't
from
come
me.
here. Because I'm asking a hard question time you walk in the room. I'm sorry. I don't know no other way. I need to know. We doing this for 7 generations. And I'm not going, I wouldn't let my brother stand in my way. I'm finna say it again. My blood brother from my blood mother couldn't stand in my way to stop me from providing for my people. So if my blood brother from my blood mother is getting vetted, what makes you think gonna happen to anything or anybody else? It doesn't matter what you
Mm,
look like. I said this the day that a lot of people met me. When I walked in the room, I would give anything and everything to help building for our people. But what if we all on this platform have said, if we find out for 1 second 1 second. You here to mislead our people, we will burn it down. It's time to get back on code.
And the Codex, I understand that your solution is not quite as mine, but I'm not questioning you about your solution.
No.
I'm not on your channel. I don't go to your channel looking at you questioning about what you're doing
No, we do not.
and complaining about what you're doing.
No, we do not.
So at the end of the day, I respect everybody's position. All I'm asking people to do is question what they're doing in the community. I Because personally, I don't care what somebody's agenda is. What I am concerned with is for all those of us that are on these YouTube channels.
Mm-hmm.
If you got followers, but none of the followers are where you from, that
We
tells
got a
me
problem.
everything I need to know about you.
Yeah, you got followers on
That
your
tells me
YouTube
one or two
channel,
things.
but none of
Either
them your
you'll work.
neighbors.
Now look, because I'm gonna be fair. Because you know me, I'm fair to a fault. And the reason why I'm fair to a fault is when I crush you, you ain't got nothing to say. Either one or two things are happening. You are doing things in the background with your community, and no one knows about it, and no one has asked you to share it, or you have manipulated your community so bad that nobody want to deal with you. So
Mm-hmm.
you're on YouTube
or you
trying
scared.
to hustle.
You
Oh, you
scared.
scared.
What your heart beating
So
for? You
it's one of those
scared.
three. So it's one of those three. And at the end of the day, I'm not concerned with what everybody else is doing.
No, no, no.
I'm not trying to convince anybody.
No, no, no.
This conversation is recorded, and I'm gonna go on record and saying it. I don't care if everybody decides to unsubscribe. I'm
Right
still
now.
gonna be doing what I'm doing because I'm not doing this on just on YouTube. I'm
No.
in my community doing this.
Yes, sir.
There's going to be even more people that come out that's going to share what we're doing. So I'm not doing this for YouTube.
No.
I'm doing this for my community. I'm out in my community. If you come to the Woodbridge area in Northern Virginia and you mention my name, you straight. Know that.
Bingo. What up, Tifton?
So
What up, South Florida? Lauderdale. Let me stop goofing. Sleep
so just
deprivation.
know that. So at the end of the day, I'm not concerned about what other people are doing, but what I am suggesting is because there are people that watch everybody else's channel, I'm asking them, and you can go back and check the records. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying call people out on the show. I'm
No.
saying
Pull them
talk to them on
aside
the side and
and
ask them
question
what they're
them.
doing. I think that's fair.
What is
I'm not saying
wrong?
go out and try to embarrass somebody on their platform. I'm not insinuating that's what people are doing now. So please don't get that.
Yeah.
Don't misunderstand me. I'm saying pull them to the side and find out what they're doing. That's a legitimate question. And
Mm-hmm.
if a person's got a problem with that, that's a
What?
problem.
That's a problem. Because I
What the
said
hell
it
are you
before.
hiding?
Why are people collecting finances through super chats and streams under, oh, it's for the community? It's for the community. So where
So so
is the help to the community coming from? Huh? Let's keep this
so so
100.
so so so, so, so the codex. Okay, so look, bro, I'm gonna say this to you, and I'm gonna say this to you as diplomatically as possible. Back chats are recorded.
Yep.
YouTube is recorded.
Yep.
Everything is recorded.
Yep.
So please be very careful about the doing things under the radar. And I'm gonna leave that like that.
I
At
don't
the end
get
of the
that
day.
question. Say, okay, what's that, Cromwell? Okay, I guess you got me all figured out. How about it's none of those three? Stop creating things. What are you speaking about? I mean, be more specific on what it is you're trying to say. And what y'all
Oh, those the in the community thing, maybe that CMH was talking about.
talking in the community. No,
The
but it goes back down to this again.
either you
Listen,
scared.
no, it's let's stop. See, I'm from the hood. I'm from the hood and chose to do different. And a lot of us are from the hood. So let's keep this 100. Because y'all know how I am. I'm going to call BS out on front. I don't play that way. The majority of people in our neighborhoods that go for this mess is because you're scared. The next percentage is because you're making something on the side. The next thing is let's keep it real. I know there's people hurt. And I let it be known who came out and made the statement. It was me because I disagree with any Indian that's collecting money from the Indian community and you're not putting it back in their pockets to help them. And I will let it be known. I will not rest until every last one of you are burnt out this community. Thieves are what you are.
Facts.
See, the difference is now y'all used to dealing with people that sided with your BS. But now y'all got the real monsters in the room. The American Indian that's gonna die for who we are. And if you in the way, guess what? Y'all done heard me said it before. Be on your way to oblivion. You can't stop what's already been written. Most of y'all been here 20, 30 years. Where's our community going? You want to be butthurt because people come in 8 months and outwork you? Then you've been doing something wrong. Ain't no such thing community is on different measurements. No, it's not. Let's keep it 100. A lot of you was in this community. We're sitting here taking from it. No, Curamayo, I'm not generalizing. I have the receipts. Y'all know who you are. We can play this game.
Are we
Because I'm
doing
finna say it
this level?
again. If you're collecting money from a super chat, you have your followers putting in money. You're using that for your personal bills, but you're collecting it under the auspice that you're doing something for the American Indian. That is an agenda. I don't care if you have followers worldwide. If you're collecting from your followers for the benefit of the American Indian, and there's not a receipt showing that Nan Penny benefit Nan American Indian, get your fraud behind out of here. I don't care about names and titles. This goes to
We
anybody in the
talking about
community. Anybody in the
if the shoe
community,
fits, it
if the
fits
shoe
you.
fits, wear it. Names and titles mean nothing to me. I care about the American Indian. 7 generations forward. I'm not upset. This is passion. Because a lot of y'all sit here and co-sign this baloney. You know who you are. You know that you sit here and you stand beside people that mean no good for this community. But because you want to get a boost, or you want fame, or you want popularity. And if you're sitting here feeling hurt off of what I'm saying, then guess what? The shoe wears it. And I take nothing back. Now what?
Hit dogs be hollering. No names were called, but hit dogs hollering.
TMH ain't say a word. See, I'm finna start calling that out, Curamayo. Stop coming here to this channel trying to start beef. We don't go to nobody channel with no baloney. I get emails from y'all in the community. I done had things about stop showing people information, this and that. Let's keep it 100. Y'all messing with the wrong one. I will put all the receipts out there. I will burn your channel down. No,
What
that's
I
not what he
said,
said.
what
He
I
said if
said
you
was
have
the
Why is
facts.
the hit
followers,
dogs hollering?
you have followers, and they're not from your community. They're not in your neighborhood. We have a problem. Because how you're saying that you're for the community and your own community don't know you're Indian. And if you're answering to what TMA said, you're the hit dog. You know what's up. You know nothing. You're a distraction.
Wow, that's actually weird though. Nobody was talking about anybody. I
Curamayo,
mean,
this
come on.
Bones is speaking. You emailed me a long
Yeah,
time
that's
ago. Let's don't forget. What was that email about my brother? Ty, I know who the Codex is. You know what? I'm finna mute because the community don't need this, and y'all got the wrong one.
Big facts. It's 11 o'clock.
I apologize to my Indian brothers and sisters. This was not built for that. My apologies, this rising.
You don't need to apologize, brother. I'm sorry. I'm on the road headed home. You don't need to apologize. We have given people a pass for too long, and that's been the problem. And they feel like they can do whatever. The same thing you mentioned earlier about being from the street is when you don't call something out, they will continue to do what they are doing and taking advantage of those in the community until somebody stands up and says something. It just so happened to be that A2 is the one that's stepping up and saying something, doing something about it. I yield the mic.
I'm gonna say it again.
You heard from a real Indian.
Before A2 was here, I tried we work with everybody in this community. A2 is here because of the crooked deceit that other people been doing. Make me play the tapes. Make me. It takes resources to research, traveling, and to get. No, it doesn't. It takes the ability to stop being cowards and to reach out to each other. We do it every day here. Copper Indio done helped so many people do genealogy sitting from his phone, taking the time out. Curamayo, I don't even know you. You can have a million subscribers, it doesn't matter to me. What we're talking about here is the real work. Okay, we can talk history, we can read from books. How much is that can a person take home and better them lives? How much? See, we don't have no issue with nobody here directly, but it seems like a lot of you show up here with the issues with A2. Why? Because we're not taking money from the community? Why? Because we're helping people tie back in? Why? Because we're helping people become self sufficient? Why? What is the real issue? I ask you. Please. Don't get quiet now. Why? Why come to this channel and the first questions that come out your mouths is drama? Why? I warned y'all. I warned every last one of you. Make it personal. I'm the wrong one. I have nothing but time.
So let me clarify my statement, because obviously what I said was taken out of context, which is known to be something that gets done a lot. I asked a question, and the question was, if you have a lot of subscribers, but none of those subscribers are in your community, that could be problematic. If you are on YouTube and you are Indian and you're pushing the Indian agenda, but no one in your community knows you're an Indian, the question is, why not? And what I was saying was, if that is the case and people are watching people's channels, pull them to the side and ask them, hey, I know you're probably doing something in the community. Do you mind sharing it? That's what I said. And there's recordings of me saying that. So to come on here and then make statements that are not true, that's problematic. But I understand, because I don't recall calling anybody's name, not one person. I never mentioned anybody's name. I
David
never
Corey
mentioned
just let it
anybody's
be known.
YouTube name.
David Corey just let it
We
be
never
known.
do.
David Corey just said it in the chat. So I'm finna ask my question again. What's the real issue? We don't mention nobody name. We don't go to nobody channel. We don't post on nobody channel. So in front of the whole community, this went down. So in front of the whole community, I'm finna ask again. What's the issue? That's not what he said, Curameo. He did not say anything about not having people that's not in your community. At A2, y'all don't live in my community, but y'all here. But we're saying this at the same token. The neighbors on all sides of me are also listening to this channel right now. When I walk down my street, everybody in my neighborhood knows I'm an Indian. On my street, the children are being raised to be known that they're American Indian. Nobody got mad at anything. I'm sick and tired of the baloney, Curameo. I'm sick and tired of people coming out to be distractions instead of helping. I'm sick and tired of people acting like their scholarship is going to fix our situations. You made it about you, Curameo. Why? Nobody attacked you about your subscriptions. You came here and you took that personal. Why,
Yeah, you must
Curameo?
have heard the end of the conversation.
No, Curameo.
Like,
Why, Curameo? See, me and you, we only had one dealing with each other. So I think we should be able to have a conversation right now. So, Curameo, why? Nobody name was mentioned. It was not directed about you. You took it out of context. You took it wrong. You worded on it wrong. You're the hit dog that's hollering. See, this is what I'm talking about again. American Indians wronging American Indians, but you cannot correct your wrongs that you came in this room on this rising and did in front of the American Indians. Oak Cliff Tiff, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm showing you how we properly nip this and dead it for good. Because the conversation wasn't directed towards nobody particular. But I'm finna say this again. When did we get to a point that we let a person name put them to a statue that they can do wrong and we don't question it? This whole build started on Joe, and I'm finna show you the beauty of the creator in this one if y'all can catch it. This build started on Joseph Brant. Joseph Brant. What is Joseph Brant known for? Isn't it funny we're dealing through the same thing that we just read about? We just read about this, what, 2 hours ago? And we just went through the same thing that we just read about. No, Curmeo, it doesn't work that way. Okay, then I misunderstood. Let's leave it at that and go in peace. See, this is what is not going to happen. This baloney where y'all come out, y'all incite all this baloney and be like, oh, I misunderstood, it's good. No, you wronged an American Indian. So be a man and make that right. Apologize for your wrongs. That's what I'm saying. Because if I come out and I make a misunderstanding and I'm wrong, guess what? Right in front of this community. Just like I paid, apologize for getting too emotional. I'm man enough to do that. So, but you can come in front of the American Indian community, get something wrong, start a whole left field conversation, but not man enough to man up to your mistakes, to the man that you falsely accused in front of the community. This is what I'm attacking. This is what I'm saying must change. This is where our real problem lies in. Y'all choose human beings and put them on pedestals. I have no master. I fear no man. So why are we doing this? Why?
I apologize to the chat.
Let's move on, shall we? Let's move on. You was saying how it started with Joseph Brant,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, distractions and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody has a right. Every American Indian has a right to go about doing what they want to do. My whole purpose and our whole purpose is to help the communities. It's great to be on YouTube, and we know that y'all are doing things in the community. Only thing I'm asking, only thing that I was asking, this wasn't a demand, this was an ask, is if you could show what you're doing with the communities that would help your followers, that
That's
would help the
all.
people that will help the people that are actually doing the work so they'll know they're not out here by themselves. Because these people respect y'all, they look up to y'all. And if they see that y'all are in the community, then that will make them feel better about all the work that they're putting in. That's the only thing I was saying. That's the only
Exactly.
thing I
That's
said.
all we're trying to say. Is that start showing people that you're out here in your community, that you're actually doing the physical work, and then it will give the energy for the ones that feel like they're alone, the ones that being beat down that don't have an outlet on channels and stuff like that. That's what we're saying. Facts, Oak Cliff Tiff, making everybody accountable. Everybody. That's how we fix this.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, I have no issue with anybody. I have no issue with anybody. I only have issues with things that people do. Period, point blank. And the action, it does not make the person. The person makes the action. So if I have an issue with an action, I'm gonna speak on the action
Mm-hmm.
because the person can change the action. So I will never attack a person.
Never.
Never. I will only speak on the action
That's it. Because I'm human and I'm prone to
because I
make
can
mistakes
separate the
too.
two.
Yeah. Facts.
Man, who you telling? The largest room in my house is the room for improvement.
Bingo.
You know me, I'm constantly apologizing. Like I said, on behalf of my tribe, I apologize for bringing these women over here because that's what started a lot of this mess.
Mm-hmm. That's why we here to do our
All
best
right.
to fix
Catawba
it.
Accept
got
your
a
apology.
yeah. So I have a major responsibility in fixing this, getting this right. Because had that not happened, it's easy to say that we wouldn't be in this situation because we were the first offenders.
Mm-hmm.
We were the keeper of the waterways, Catawba. mean, that's a bitter pill to swallow. You think I like that? No, I don't like it. But it's the facts.
No, David Corey, I hold nobody to the worst standards. I never do. I just want everybody to be accountable for their actions. That's it. Nobody's above reproach.
Again, we
No
have
one's. No one. Wrong is wrong, right is right.
and we don't hold grudges.
No.
Right, and we don't hold grudges because all actions are correctable.
Corrected properly.
No, the
At the
codex
end
is
of the
not
day,
being confused. It's how you do it. Like we said again, you're here asking questions, but there was questions asked that haven't been answered. So you have to realize that becomes a
and they
distraction.
still haven't been answered.
That becomes a distraction for the people that been showing up to the show for the last 6 7 months through all our transitions, who've been sticking through it. You get what I'm saying? That's a distraction. And that's what we're saying. No
Yeah, we got
question is a wrong question. It's how you go about it. You get what I'm saying? Put it in a
yeah,
If
format.
and
you
we got
go,
shows archived.
Go ahead, no sellout, since you don't
go
say that
ahead.
much.
No, no, I was just saying we got shows archived, so you can check us out on the on the website and on our YouTube channels if you need to catch up with what page we're on, pretty much.
Yeah, even on the
And
Tontinus
I'll just
Assembly Radio, old episodes are always playing on the radio station 24/7. You can access that from
And
the
anybody that knows me, and at the end of the day, anybody that knows me, I don't care what your affiliation is. If you bring a question, I'm going to answer it. But I'm expect my
Mm-hmm.
question to get answered. Well, there's no point. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
under investigation. I'm easy to find. I'm easy to look up.
I,
You know my
I got a
address. You
question.
know my name. So if you're gonna bring a question, you're gonna get a question. If you can't
Bingo.
answer the question, then that's gonna be problematic because I'm answering your question, and my question still ain't been answered. So
I don't know
moving
what your
on.
question was, TMH, because it's probably been a little while since you said it. But I got a question. If the Codex want to answer a question after TMH's question gets answered, do you remember the Codex? What the question was?
My question is, what is because we have a difference of opinion, we have a difference of approach. What is your approach, and what do you have to substantiate your methods of approach being validated and being able to be sustainable, and
Mm-hmm.
it'll work? That was a question. What proof do you have that it's gonna work? You answered in full. What did you answer? You
Yeah, I
said
don't
our
remember.
approaches were different, and you do stuff in the background. I didn't
Responsive. He
ask you. I didn't
responded.
ask you for your strategy. I didn't ask you for your strategy. I asked you for your. I asked you for what your approach is. It could be general. It doesn't have to be specific. Because you didn't. It's interesting. You don't want to be specific, but you wanted me to be specific. And I was very specific. That's interesting. Okay, so it's okay for me to be specific, but it's not okay for you to be specific. Okay, I got it. Thanks.
Got
Okay.
you.
All right.
All right. Just ran a quick commercial real quick.
So what it boils down to at the end of the day is that we have Indians
Mm-hmm.
that are in office.
Yes,
they
sir.
know they know their genealogy.
Mm-hmm.
They know who they are. That's the reason why we need to know ours. Now, if you don't want to do your genealogy, that's your choice. But here on A2, if you want to do your genealogy, we will help you.
That's it.
I got
No
a
one's
question
gonna
though.
make you do your genealogy. No one's.
Who
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
who doesn't? I mean, if anybody, email us at assembly@gmail.com if you don't want to do your genealogy, even if you don't want to, because I would like to know what kind of why. I guess is my question. If you don't want to do your genealogy or your family history, your lineage, your family tree, as we would call it.
I reposted all of the Joseph Brant story back in there. We're posting it back on there for people who came in late so they can get a copy of it.
Because at the end of the day, again, what we're promoting on A2 is if you want to do your genealogy, we're here to help you. Because our goal is to help your tribe. We help your tribe, then we can start moving in that direction as far as getting you back on point, getting back on code.
That's
and
those
and and,
numbers.
and correcting the wrong.
That's those numbers. That's going to happen in numbers.
Yeah, that's where the numbers are going to come from. You're not going to have to find your land because you'll have the land, and there's a process in place to get more land. But if you don't tie it to your tribe, it's going to be very difficult to get land and keep the land. Because getting the land is the easy part, because you can purchase land. But as tribes continue to do their genealogy, and as some of this land gets released and we're not tied to it, then it's going to become very difficult for those that don't tie into a tribe to access and keep the land from the people that are tied to the tribe, and these lands starting to expand. Because at the end of the day, if your goal is to correct the wrongs, then it's very important to tap back into your tribe. Because at the end of the day, these people in a position already have their tribe. They tap back to Brant. They tap back to what's his name? Cornstalk. So they know their genealogy. So we can't kick them off the land. The land is theirs too. And this is a plan of action that they had because they knew that eventually we were going to wake up. They knew they couldn't keep us sleeping sedated for so long. So
Mm-hmm.
so at the end of the day, when it comes to getting back what's rightfully ours, so to speak, or getting our foothold back in, if you don't tap back into the land, the question that I need to ask that no one has answered yet, that doesn't mean it's not answered because I don't want to be misquoted. You get you some land. You purchase it from a commercial realtor or a residential realtor. You hold this land. You put it in a trust. You get your tribe. Your tribe is running. Come to find out, my ancestors own that land. You already got your tribe established. It's already in a trust.
Hold on,
How
your
do you keep your
ancestors
land? Yeah, if my ancestors
on
if
my
my
land
ancestors own that land and I can
that I
prove
just
it,
purchased.
and you purchase it with commercial, you purchase commercial real estate, which most of us know that that land is stolen land.
Hold up, man.
But you put it in a trust, right?
Hold on. So I spent money on this land already,
Yeah, you spend money.
and you telling me it's yours?
I'm not telling you I'm not telling you it's mine. The land deed tells you it's mine.
Mm.
Genealogy tells you it's mine. So here's a question I'm going to ask: what happens to property that is what happens to property that is stolen and then resold? I'll wait.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to property that is stolen and then resold?
Mm-hmm.
There's generally there's generally some type of reconciliation that the land gets held, right?
Yep.
Uh oh. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
still
no,
hear
you
you.
good. That was Doodle Vision got some static on his end.
Okay. So when the land gets stolen, and it's determined that it's stolen, doesn't that land go into holding until everything gets resolved,
Yep.
and then the rightful party gets that land back? Correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be wrong.
No, that's how it works.
And it doesn't matter if you pay money for that land.
No.
Now here's a question. This is the reason why. Documentation is so key. So let's put this on me. Let's just say I've been having a YouTube channel for years, talking about all this land is ancestral land, right? I'm indigenous, I'm autochthonous, I'm American Indian, I'm this, I'm that, right? So I'm on record as stating that I know that this land is stolen land, right? There's audio of me saying it, there's video of me saying it, it's in the back chat of me saying it, and then I go start my tribe and I get some commercial real estate or I get some residential real estate and purchase said land. Y'all see where I'm going, right? So now I own this land. I put it in a trust. I have my tribe. Bones, you come to find out that the land that I've purchased belongs to your ancestors. We go to court. What do you think's gonna happen? Can anybody hear me?
One's actually up the court.
You go to court. We go to court. It's on record that I know that I've been claiming that the land is stolen. It's on record that I know that this has been tribal land. It's on record that I even said sometimes we gotta go do our genealogy to tie back into the land. I'm on record saying this. So now I have willingly purchased stolen land.
Mm-hmm. Uh
What
oh.
does that make me?
Criminal.
What does that make me? Knowing that see, because it's one thing to purchase land that's stolen and you don't know. But if I'm on record saying that I know the land is stolen, I go and purchase it anyway. What does that make me?
Mm-hmm. Like I said, we gotta use common sense. We have to. And I'm gonna say this analogy again. Somebody steals my car. I see the car 6 houses down. Can I go take it back with no issues? Or do I need the title to prove it's my car? I mean, everybody think that genealogy is a problem. Can somebody please answer that question? If I went down there 6 houses down and hopped in that car, I can be arrested now. Why? Because what proof did I show that I'm the owner of the car? It's the same thing with trying to take land. Same principle, same concept. If you ain't finna let nobody come in your house and take, all right, so if that's the case, I'm gonna take over your master bedroom and your bedroom. Because I want it. Because my people been here longer than yours. Who in the chat going for that? Because if you not going for it, what
I
makes you
can't
think
go
somebody
for
else
that.
gonna go? If you won't go for it, what makes you think the next man or woman will? That's naive.
So the
Fact,
census
Oak
is
Cliff
important
Tiff.
for tracking your genealogy, for tracking your relatives, because that's how I found my relatives.
Me too.
That's how I found my genealogy,
Same here.
and that's how my kids are going to be able to find me because you take 70 years for information that we post in the census to be released to our families. And like I said, if people don't trust the census, which you shouldn't, I'm not saying you should trust the census. But what I am saying is because I'm not going to give you a proper paper census. Put down whatever you want to put down as far as who your family is. You make a copy, get both copies notarized, send one to the Census Bureau, and then keep one for your records. That way your family know who you are. Case closed. Case
And the
closed.
importance of the
Now,
census.
they can't say, now they can't say that's not what you said because you got two notarized copies.
And the importance of the census is simple and people keep forgetting. The census is how funds are allocated to neighborhoods. It's how resources are allocated. So all these people that's telling you back away from the census, don't participate, you're not gonna get resources.
I'm not sure if someone else break dancing on the mic.
Yeah, he breaking up. Bones,
Repitan.
you breaking up, bro. You breaking up.
Yeah, they gotta be on YouTube and everything good on this end. You can hear me clearer?
The comments, I will answer that question. You gotta answer this question. If you can't answer this question, please don't answer another question.
Mic check.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything's wrong with the petition. What I stated before was show me some proof where somebody use a petition and it got them what they wanted. I'll wait. So I answered your question. And I don't see nothing wrong with the petition. But what I am saying, I haven't seen the instance where a petition got people what they wanted in this country, particularly land in their tribes. So if you could show me one instance where that has happened, then your point is proven.
I got a
But there's
question.
no need for us to have this conversation. Go ahead.
I got a question because if there is a petition, I would like to know what's in the petition because obviously you don't want to sign a petition that I mean, if you somebody come up to you with a clipboard and ask you to sign a petition, you're not just going to sign it without getting no info from them. You want to know what's in the petition. So yeah, I mean technically, yeah, I mean there's nothing wrong with a petition. It's just what's in the petition. Is the petition for? I mean, I'm not even going to speculate or guess. What's the petition for? What am I signing? I
Well,
like
look at it this
petitions,
way.
but
Look at
I'd
it
like to
this
know
way
what's in
too.
them.
You can hear me better now. Y'all hear me better?
Facts
All right.
You
overall.
good? Go ahead.
All right.
Yep,
What I was
one
saying
hundo.
was the most important thing about the census. The most important thing. The census is how they allocate funds to areas. And the only way they know who's in what area is by what comes back on this information. So you wonder why a lot of the places where you live is underfunded. Because a lot of the places where we live, a lot of our people choose to check out and don't play. TMA gave you a perfect thing to do. Fill out the census, get it notarized, and keep yourself a copy. Because guess what? Whether you fill it out or not, they're going to fill it out for you. Every person has a census filled out for them, whether you did it or not. The difference is when you do it, you're claiming who you are, putting your information and stuff down there. When they're doing it, they're going to make you who they want to make you. So, therefore, by default, you are part of the problem. You're
Yeah,
helping
you need
them.
the census to find out who you putting down. I mean, if you gonna are you skipping the census? Because if you're skipping the census, what did the last census say you was?
Exactly. And then they
You
just
still a
say,
Negro on the census or something?
no, they erasing it Negro and Oriental. So if they're finna erase
That's what I'm
Negro and
saying.
Oriental, and you're not gonna participate in the census, what links you back to them people of the 1800s? I'll wait.
Hmm. I remember putting African American on my ass. I think I'm still African American. I don't know. I got to change it up.
I say you not show. Got to be.
And we still breaking up. Can you hear us? Mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Mic check. My bad. I had a phone call coming. I had to.
So again, we are not propagating or promoting you have to do what we say do. We're not propagating or promoting that you have to do the census. We're telling you what the purpose is, and at the end of the day, it's for allocating funds to the communities. If you don't want to participate, you potentially be hurting your community that you live in by not participating. But if you help the community and you don't trust the census, which I am not intimating or indicating that you should, then you sign, you get a paper copy, you fill it out, you get it notarized, you make a copy of it, you keep a copy for your personal records, and then you send that copy back to the census, certified with return receipt. If you really want to scare the crap out of them, send it with insurance on it for about $400, which is going to cost you about an extra 4.
Hmm? And Oak Cliff Tiff said it perfect. You allowing them to identify you if you don't do it, and you want to about your living environment and the conditions of the American Indian, but you're not taking them part of the things that can fix our conditions. Why are you complaining again? You're more colonizer than the colonizer right now. I guess on that note, it's about that time. Any last closing remarks? I hope it don't even
Again,
matter. I think they shut us down.